Ladies love the skin.
Ow.
Bring it a little bit closer. The good skin, that is. That's why having a proper skincare routine is very important, and you need to feel the Teej. The process is so easy, just 4 steps. You got your daily face wash. That's gonna clean your face up nice and right. You got your exfoliator scrub. That's gonna open up your pores. You got your AM moisturizer with the SPM 20, which is gonna protect you from the sun. You also got your PM moisturizer, which is gonna make sure your skin is protected throughout the night. Teej has tons of reviews from dedicated customers across the world. I know I said a lot, but it's okay, because guess what? It comes with an instruction card to explain to you in detail what to do morning and night.
And because Teej is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description to get 30% off your first skincare system and a free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll also get 20% off for life. By the way, both gifts you're choosing from are a $20 value and a complete game changer. A silicone body scrubber or a nail and face grooming kit. Personally, I prefer the silicone body scrubber. I don't like using towels when I travel, so the body scrubber is an excellent way to open up the pores and get the body clean. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
Go time. What's going on, fam? We'll be King Talk. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. Shannon Rawls, Fred Smooth and White, Kenny P, Louise, Fab Jones, Darwin, me, myself, Lapeef, JR. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What it do, what it do?
Peace, peace.
Peace, peace.
What's going on, fellas?
Another Tuesday.
What's going on?
What up, what up?
What up, Cloud? I haven't seen in a bit.
Tuesday. Better turn this down. Man, we're going to get the housekeeping out the way, man. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I drop that link, man. But they got 40% off with a free gift. You get 20% off for life once you click that link. Also, we run the Father's Day special. You know, Father's Day is right around the corner. So we have, just put in the code FATHER. Put in the promo code FATHER and you get 15% off the entire order, whatever's on the site. So make sure y'all go ahead and click that link as well. Want to become part of Green Gang, click the link in the chat. Speaking of chat, what's going on, chat? So we got Luis in the chat, Dale Matthews, Erica. Sean is in there, Shooter, Fat with Smooth, and Daniel Berry. Welcome, chat, as you guys come in. Just make sure y'all be respectful. And we got a great show ahead. All right, let's go ahead and get this show started, man. Y'all ready? Oh, we're missing ink. I'll check on that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Project 25. You guys ever heard of Project 25 or that phrase? No? Luis?
I've never heard of it.
You heard about it, Luis? You on mute?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. You thought you was nodding your head. Yeah. Computer shut down to the phone. Okay. All right. I got you, Sean. Let's make sure you're listening in. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip and then we'll get into it. Shannon, you there? I hate to play a clip all over again if somebody miss it. Shannon Rawls.
Shannon is doing his evening routines. You know he's on the West Coast time.
Yeah, no. I just want to make sure you don't miss the video. I'm gonna go ahead and play it, man. To catch up.
Shouldn't be allowed to run. Okay, should. If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In that situation, we could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial. It would grind government to a halt.
Oh, nothing. Just me bringing to you exactly what Donald Trump says he's going to do. And these are words directly from Donald Trump's mouth.
We're going to cut the Department of Education, let it be run locally. We have this
end the Department of Education?
End it, other than to have a little tiny coordination. It would be nice to make sure that everybody's teaching English. Yeah. Let them learn English, okay?
I love this.
But no, we're cutting the Department of Education. I was ready to do it before. And then, again, the COVID really, if we didn't throw money at that, you would have had a depression. We would have been in a depression. And when I got out, the stock market was higher than when just before COVID came in.
So that would be the first thing. That would be the first department.
Oh, it's going to happen. That's going to happen immediately. We're going to do like Department of Interior. There's so many things you can do. One of the things that's so bad for us is the environmental agencies. They make it impossible to do anything. And so in Louisiana, they had these massive refineries, that LNG plants, but massive, essentially, refineries. 14, 15 years they've been trying to get permits. I got it done in one day. One day I got the permit. Don't tell anybody, please.
That is a clip from an interview that Donald Trump did with Fox News after the verdict was read. And join me in another 30 minutes or so. I will be watching the entire interview live, and I will be streaming it on my TikTok channel. To those of you who have been paying attention, them cutting the Department of Education is textbook Project 2025. Them wanting to cut the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Yes, he did start to do that underneath his presidency. This is why underneath Joe Biden, you started to see all of those train derailments, right? That is the agency that would protect black neighborhoods where these industrial plants will build their plants in the middle of black neighborhoods, slowly poisoning black people to death by the release of their toxic fumes. Yeah, underneath Donald Trump, it won't take years for black people to be poisoned to death. It will be more immediate because whatever environmental protections that Joe Biden has been able to establish underneath his presidency, on day one, Donald Trump will get rid of it. This is why it's important for you to familiarize yourself with Project 2025. So when he goes out and he does these interviews talking about the things that he's going to cut, you'll know where he's getting this information from or where this information is tying to. He's speaking textbook Project 2025. And let me slow it down for those of you that said we were using Project 2025 to fearmonger. Project 2025 isn't real. Project 2025 isn't legal. Tell them that, because they plan on instituting it once Donald Trump or whatever Republican president gets into the White House. I told y'all I haven't been talking about politics since October 7th. I've been doing this thing since Donald Trump ran the first time back in 2016. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this.
All right, so she talked about Project 2025. I see AP is in the chat saying he hate we as black people like buying half of the story. He also said that she was off. Said she was missing context. Oh my God, wrong train derailment. It's not the EPA. It's the death of transportation. I know we talked a little bit about this on Sunday. Was it Sunday we talked about Trump? We talked about Trump. So I just wanted to kind of bring this story out. It was sent to me, so I said I'd discuss it. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
I mean, I think it's easy to say that, he sounds hypocritical in the beginning, but I mean, what is there to say? That's politic talk for you, right? Yesterday's news is yesterday's news. You think people are going back trying to find his own clips and spending hours trying to dissect everything he has ever said? Not really. People are more concerned about their day-to-day moment, what's happening at this very instance, as opposed to what happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, you got to remember, he's not a politician. He's an entertainer and also a business person, or businessman in this case, right? I mean, one comment that I will make, because the woman, she seemed a little bit far off, and I do agree. What is the current black community's wealth, overall wealth, under the Democratic regime? So I mean, just by the vote of hands alone, that should tell you something. Because I strongly really believe, and obviously everybody's gonna chime in and cut in a different angle, but I do strongly believe everybody should have their own slice of, their own slice of something, create their own, own pathway. I think for the longest part, there has been all these like subsidized programs that unfortunately has crippled more people than it's really aided them to kind of get up and do something for themselves. But I'll yield it right there.
All right, go ahead. M. White, he came off the mic.
Oh no, I ain't come off, but I okay, I can though. So I think what the lady was alluding to was environmental racism. That's what is usually called. So when somebody uses lower income or what they call marginalized groups or people of color places, and they dispose of toxic waste or they cut down on the restrictions that are supposed to keep people safe, put in place by the EPA and a couple other industries. If health is wealth, and they're like extreme. Have you seen the movie Aaron Brockovich? I think it was called. I don't know if any of y'all seen that before, where they were suing the corporations for whatever is it power or oil or some type of drilling, and it was causing people to get an immense amount of cancer, and they was clustering it, and they could factor it back to what occurred with whatever corporation that was there. So she's alluding to those type of practices when she's talking about cutting those things down. I'm not familiar with what he was talking about he was getting a permit for, but I'm familiar with the context of what environmental racism constitutes. It's a real thing. A lot of times when your bottom line is the most important thing for shareholders or the board members, that's going to be overlooked and skirt any chance they can in order to push the profit margins further. And unfortunately, that tends to take root in lower income neighborhoods who typically tend to be people of color. So you could say it's classism, but it'd be the same groups for the most part. But yeah, I think that's what she was speaking to.
All right, go ahead, Clout.
Yeah, I was gonna say, based off what she was saying, and it seems to be something that's prevalent in politics. It seems as though it's never really about the message; it's about the messenger. I think I find it interesting that, especially in Black spaces, we constantly hear how the education system is rigged against Black people. We constantly hear the history of education. Like, if you know why the the first board of education, which was I think it was called the General Education Board or something like that. When it was first created, it was created for the purpose of enslaving Americans and turning them into useless workers. So it's like we have this system that's in play for years, and we always talk about how bad it is and how useless it is. But now that someone that we don't like is talking about abolishing the very same system, now all of a sudden it's racist. Like now all of a sudden it's like, oh well, no, we love the Board of Education. All of a sudden, like the Board of Education is so great, or even the EPA. It's like I think the people that talk about this stuff don't actually do the research. It's like, yes, the EPA is there to supposedly protect people, but anybody who understands how government actually works, that's not what it does. What the EPA does is it creates a bunch of regulations that make it impossible for new businesses to grow and basically price out smaller businesses and only make it so that the companies that are already monopolizing business have more power to do so. They usually do these things under the guise of helping the common person. But like they even did a joke about this on The Simpsons, because the EPA has so much power to regulate that they actually can cripple industries or control industries. That's why you're seeing so much push now for electric, even though electric is almost useless, even though it's not more efficient, even though it's not better. But this is all part of that process. It's all like government red tape and nonsense. And I don't think the American people also realize how much of American taxpayers' dollars disappear into these like black holes of budgets that go with things like the EPA and the Board of Education. Like the money gets blown and wasted egregiously, especially in the Department of Education. And I think that yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with us looking at the concept of leaving those things to the states to be able to determine. I don't think nothing's crazy about that. I just really think that, again, like once the policies are attached to a certain face or a certain person, it's always going to be promoted as this is bad for the black community. I also think that's kind of part of the Democratic strategy. It's like, let's mobilize a lot of black faces against these policies and make these policies seem racist. Because once you tell black people something's racist, they kind of stop doing research, stop listening, just go, oh, it's racist, I ain't fucking with it. So I don't know. She sounds completely uninformed, and it just sounds like she's kind of fear mongering. And I kind of expect that from people with her disposition. It's always some like artsy looking lady with some funny glasses that has all these concepts about what's good and bad for the black community. She probably lives in some white neighborhood in a really fancy apartment, probably doesn't even see black people regularly. I don't take it seriously, but of course, because Trump's involved, it's automatically racist. I don't know. For me, it's kind of lame. But yeah, that's my take on it.
All right.
So
Go ahead.
I say,
Go ahead, Trev.
what pretty much happens when you get a Republican in office? They're not fans of big government, right? So those are two bureaucracies that they decided to bring up, but they also wanted to get rid of the FBI. You heard Ramaswamy talk about this a lot. One of his potential running mates. They want to get rid of the ATF, the FDA, and a lot of people really don't understand how a lot of these organizations work, and all of the dark things that they do. Like, let's just say FDA, for instance, right? And according to them, anything that is proven to cure a disease is considered a drug. So they were trying to at one point say that Cheerios, even vitamin C would be considered drugs because it's proven to cure disease. So you have silly that happen. The EPA has stifle many projects. If you look in like Asia or something, if they want to put something up, they put it up. But there's a whole bunch of red tape and usually these bureaucracies that are just in the way of most of our production. And it's more of a hindrance to us than it is any help. And it doesn't mean that there won't be any regulation at all. It just means that if you're watching what's happening right now with what the Supreme Court is doing for most things, they're saying, all right, we'll leave things up to the states. So it'll be up to your state to regulate these things. It won't be a useless bureaucracy overseeing places that are, it's like double government. We already have state officials and everything. We don't need federal on top of that to manage it all over again. It's redundant. So
you probably want to locate in yourself in a state that is conducive to what you want in your life, but that's about it, right? Because we don't need all of these people, and as much debt as we have, we're trillions of dollars in debt. So some type of eradication of most of these bureaucracies would actually be a good thing for our tax dollars. That's how we would actually be taxed less. And if you notice, normally when Republicans are in power, you are taxed less because they're not wasting a bunch of dollars on things that we really don't need. That micromanaging is just silly. And you have to understand also, like, I definitely don't want to just gloss over those dark things. There's so much nonsense that they do. Like, let's just say electric cars. I see you touched on that, Cloud. It's crazy. People don't understand that it takes like 10 years at least to equate to the carbon footprint of an actual internal combustion engine, right? And not only that, we haven't even gotten into what's going to happen with the disposal of these dangerous lithium-ion batteries in a few years. We haven't even started to talk about that. And the one thing they never really tell you is that most of the energy used to create and keep these electric vehicles running are sourced from coal, oil, everything else that we're already using, right? That we're saying is so dirty in the first place, right? So they're not making any sense here. If you were to ask me, I would just say you have the right people put money in the right people's pocket, and that's just politics for you. We just have to start doing our own research. We have to look beyond surface levels sometimes and then come up with your own decisions. If that's a decision that you would come up with afterward, great. But you can tell just from, what the lady was saying, she's really just trying to amp people up. She didn't go into depth of anything. What was you going to say, Mark? I see your finger keep going up. Pause.
So in 1969, the Cuyahoga River in Ohio became so polluted that it caught fire. The fire spurred an avalanche of water pollution and control activities, such as the Clean Water Act and the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement. By bringing national attention to water pollution, was one of the first events that led to the creation of the EPA. The Environmental Protection Agency is literally there to protect the environment. If you don't have any regulation, or you allow corporations to determine what's the appropriate measure for waste dump, this is what will happen. It's not like the industries of capitalism is centered around doing what's best for mankind. It's a budget and a profit line item. So if it makes more sense to dump this in Lake Michigan and it's cheaper, they'll dump it in Lake Michigan, no matter what the chemical is. Drinking water, who be damned. All of that stuff be damned. The only thing that matters is how can you increase your profit margin. Like, so this,
what you're saying makes sense, but that assumes that the state that the person that company is in has no regulation.
We never said
it's
no
like we're
regulation.
assuming
We
that
said
the EPA
states
means
would
no
regulate.
regulation. Exactly. Then on top of that, it's like, again, what you're saying, there absolutely has to be somebody regulating our water and things like that, right? But the EPA is a federal bureau. Like, they're not on a state level actually putting in the work. They're just kind of laying down red tape and regulations from a distance, but I don't think they actually see how those regulations affect the actual industries that they put the regulations on. And that's where the problem comes.
So, Cloud, I agree with your point earlier about regulation hurts, especially small businesses, right? Because a lot of the startup capital that it takes to get going can get eaten up initially trying to get through the red tape and hurdles. That's a valid point. That's an issue with, like, most bureaucracies when you have so many levels of red tape. However, the same way, like, the federal government can come in and investigate the police departments to root out something like what was them gangs they found in California. Oversight for oversight. It needs to be somebody watching the people that's supposed to be watching us, because they can be infiltrated, can be bribed, and then you'll have the money, instead of going to the pipes that should have went to the right places in Flint, they'll take that money and spend it elsewhere because there's no regulation on it. And next thing you know, You got lead water and nobody drink the water for 2-3 years.
Yeah, but
the
Marcus,
same thing happened. The same thing happened.
Marcus, the reason why you mentioned Flint, it's interesting that you mentioned that. It's the red tape from the EPA is the reason why Flint was a failure. If Michigan would have had the oversight of their own state to be able to handle what the crisis of that water in Flint, then it would have got fixed way faster. But because of the EPA and the red tape and the problem and the bureaucracy that they had, that's the reason why our brothers and sisters in Michigan was suffering because of that Flint shit. So when you say, I get it. You know, the EPA was started in 1970, and what happened in 1969, and that kind of, we need regulation, and we need somebody to regulate the regulators. We need oversight of the government. What you're saying is, and that's classic liberal thinking. We need somebody to watch. We need the big government to watch the smaller government of the states, and assuming that the smaller people of the states who actually live there don't know what they're doing. They need somebody in Washington to tell the people that's in Boise, Idaho, how to and what to do in Boise, Idaho, and they don't. None of them live in Boise, Idaho, and the people in Boise, Idaho, the people in Anchorage, Alaska, ain't smart enough to handle their own stuff.
I think the issue isn't that they're not smart enough. There's plenty of intelligent people all around the country. But the issue boils
the topic.
The issue boils down to
you guys got off the topic.
No, we'll swing it back, Kenny. We'll swing it back. Go ahead, finish, Marcus.
Yeah, the issue boils down to, can those institutions be corrupted? And they're just setting a guideline, a framework. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect or it works perfectly, because there's issues with almost every government agency, federal, state, or local in any way. There are issues there. Can it be refined? Can some red tape be removed? Can they have oversight and to get some of that stuff removed so it's not a waste of money? I'm with you on all of that. But I'm saying, if you have a politician, right, in charge of a specific agency, that agency can funnel money to someplace else. Like we was just talking about the super mayor, right? It took the federal government to come in and audit them in order to hold her accountable. Say you have a situation
else, Marcus, you got to bring it back.
It's still in the same
Project 25.
We're talking about the EPA.
No, the initial question was regarding Project 25, where Clout went on the tangent about said women without really addressing what Project 25 was.
Okay, well, let us know what Project 25 is.
She didn't focus on Project 25 in that video.
Yeah.
Like she brushed on it, but she talked more about Trump.
No, I got you. And Kenny, why interrupt him? We'll swing it back. I just said that we'll swing it back. Let him finish.
My bad, Shannon, but we went four topics out. I just wanted to make sure. I apologize. I digress.
I got you. That's what we do. We'll be bright. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. So we'll swing it back to Project 25. Were you done, Marcus?
I can't even remember. Marcus. That's all right. I got a short memory. Sometimes I'll be. So if y'all want to get into Project 25, let's go for it.
No, so the whole thing is like the woman was talking. We were talking about big government, you know, and you know, and just to wrap up the Flint thing, because she, you know, we're talking the EPA, we're talking the Department of Education. That's what I think Trump was saying, getting rid of both of those. That's what was in the video, and that's why we were discussing it. And I hear what you're saying, Marcus. You know, we got to have somebody to watch over certain things, but sometimes when you say corrupt at the state level, what about the corruption at the federal level? Like, where does it stop? Where does corruption stop? And in my personal opinion, and maybe it's just me because I'm conservative, I think it's better that we regulate smaller and closer home than to have a whole bunch of motherfuckers and assuming and praying that everybody's doing good. That's just me.
What's interesting about what y'all saying is politics has become entertainment. And it's an unfortunate reality that we're dealing with. So a lot of the stuff that we're speaking to, it just becomes a talking point. And there aren't anything, there's not much that is done about it. And it's an unfortunate reality. We have a bunch of people who, one way or the other, they're just on a team. And whether their team is Republican, whether their team is Democrat, it really doesn't matter. But the point is that we're losing sight of actually getting things done or resolutions, to your point, Shan, because we're not locally doing it. But power is intoxicating, and unless we identify those who are intoxicated by that power when they get it, and hold them accountable. We're just talking in circles.
That's a bar. That's a bar. And personally, I believe that we can wrangle some of the corruption when it's local. Like I can wrangle the corruption in my neighborhood here, but if I got to worry about my neighborhood, then I got to worry about somebody in the city, then I got to worry about the county, then the state coming in, and I got to worry about all these people before I can take care of what I know and all my neighbors in my neighborhood. The crime will just go out of control because I got to check in with them, and are they sick, and are they on leave, and are they rich? So I just think that's why I like smaller government. But with that lady, let me just throw this out. With the lady, when she was talking, one of the things that stuck out to me, man, and I'm sure it stuck out to you. She said, under Donald Trump, it won't take years for black people to be poisoned to death. You know, that fear-mongering thing that I hear people do is wild to me. Do you guys remember? It's the classic boogeyman, scare everybody to fall in line type of bullshit. Y'all remember in 2016, you know, we were supposed to all be back on plantations after Trump got elected the first time. I think by 2018, all of y'all was supposed to be in shackles picking cotton again. That's what they were selling, and that's what they were selling here in California. You know, I'm in the most liberal state in the union, and that's just crazy to me. So when he says stuff like goodbye to the EPA, and you guys are more well versed on that, the Department of Education, bye. We don't need the Department of, listen, give it back to the states, man. You guys know No Child Left Behind was a failure for black folk. It's because the schools they were penalizing poor people unfairly. That's what No Child Left Behind did. But that's because federal came in and said, all of y'all got to do this, pass them kids, whether they smart or not. If them kids is failing and they don't want to go to school, he still get to go from 8th grade to 9th grade. There's no such thing as leaving somebody behind in class anymore, like it was when I was in school. That's crazy to me, because all it does is de-incentivize the teachers to just keep working harder, and the kids know, shit, I'm gonna go anyway, whether I go to class, do my homework or not. Even Common Core that was adopted by like 35, 40 states or so, something like that. That was a failure too, in my personal opinion. California, they got Common Core here. I think they got it in New York, they got it in Illinois. But then now that's not federal, but when you talk about something being federalized, when you got states like Virginia, you got states like Texas that didn't adopt Common Core. When you look at the test scores, you look at the aptitude of the students, they happen to just be smarter. And you would think that it would work. I mean, I see it makes sense on paper, but it doesn't. It didn't in the end. And that's why Georgia got rid of it. Florida got rid of Common Core, because standardized testing is, teachers need to have the flexibility to be able to work with their students at the level. They got to meet the students where they're at. But when they got to take these tests that make things harder, it just fucks shit up. And that's what happens when the government comes in and just starts putting on regulation and telling teachers what they got to do, and telling teachers what they got to, how they have to teach their students and shit like that. I don't like that kind of stuff. So that's just me. Now, Project 2025, it makes way for a more conservative government. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm conservative. Project 2025, it criminalizes shit like pornography, and it gets rid of protections for discrimination-based bullshit, gender identity, and all that kind of stuff. It does get rid of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. I don't have no problem with that. But you guys know how I think. I'm on some, get shit done. You know what I'm saying? Get GTD, get things done. I'm like, yo, work hard, be nice to people. Work hard, be nice to people, and you'll be rewarded.
But see, I just want to chime in for 2 seconds. You really hit it on the head right there, Shannon. Because the simple fact, what it really does is remove all the slackers. It removes all the people who are looking for a lifeline, right? Or try to hide behind some sort of facade, right? It really makes people have to really perform.
Yo, Lewis, what are you talking about? The blacks are the only ethnicity that don't get funding or subsidies that this country allots. Let's cut the BS. Both sides are
Bro, that's
accessible.
bullshit.
I've been
That's
holding on
bullshit.
this for.
I'm black and I've
Wait,
gotten
wait.
funding. What are you talking
Asians.
about?
Whoa. Since I'm BSing, Asians don't get subsidies and things that blacks don't get. Jews don't get subsidies and stuff blacks don't get. Whites don't get stuff that blacks don't get. You want me to keep going? You want me to keep going? He would say that because he's conservative. Project 25 is uproot every federal servant and make them conservative. If you're a Republican, it favors you. Wait. Neil Gorsuch. What was it? Brett Kavanaugh. Amy Cohen Barrett. The three Supreme Court justices. Are you paying attention to the chess moves that are being made? You understand? When Republicans got what they wanted, they stayed quiet. They were against Trump. He said, here's your lobbyists. Here's what you want. I'm not going to say anything. She has a right to say what she wants to say about Trump. I know Trump from Central Park 5. And that's emotion. And I'm not going to ever get rid of that. You took a 2-page article out on 5 black youths that never did nothing and said they should be executed. What black man could do that in a periodical or note in New York and get away with it? And then when he found out, it is documented, you can find it. While he was president, he said they were all exonerated. He said they probably did something. This is the most disrespectful dude that was ever put in the office to represent this country. We are a laughing stock. Despite him, record lows of unemployment, jobs up, 6,000 more for middle class families. This is the regime around him to make it look good. Free blacks that did something, but don't give them re-entry programs so that they can stay out of jail. Let's talk about the things that make sense. He can throw y'all a chicken bone while he's electing 300 federal judges. What do you think? He's looking at the long game. Y'all just talking points. Did y'all do the research? This country was never made for us. We still consider 3/5 of a slave in a constitution that still stands. You bang Obama. I bang him too because he gave more for the alphabet community than blacks. But there's almost this much amount of paperwork that can make the novel War and Peace for stuff that he tried to get past. Count every gray hair in his head. You think he was just for black people? That's what he wanted. That's what they wanted him. No, you have to be for a country. That's not fair. Trump
Kenny, you just said
nothing, Trump has nothing
so they stopped
good.
it at the black stuff.
You just made Trump about black people.
Wait. Did
instead of the country.
Did I tell me exactly what statement I made about blacks? Or should I go back to? Let's go back to when him and his father used to attend Klan rallies. That's documented. So
documented where is the documenting of? Well, I'd love to see this. Please post it in the chat.
His father was arrested at a Klan rally in New York. It actually did happen. But
I said to say his father was arrested. I'm saying
he was there with him
and his father.
He was there with him.
I gotta see this. Post it.
Okay, well, Marcus, you send
it
to him.
Okay, I'll find it and send it. I just want to redirect one thing.
Post me that, please.
And as for the Board of Education, we shouldn't be reading them books. You understand? It was substandard. It was proven through documentation the educational system was rife and favored those that have rather than the have-nots. They made the test for passing, the learning test, the Regents test, and all those were found biased.
More reason to get rid of the Board of Education, right?
Let me ask you this.
Hold on real quick, because I'm not sure if I want to go back to Luis. I'm not sure if he was finished. Did you finish, Luis?
Yeah, no, I learned it.
Okay, all right.
There's too many of us.
I just asked this real quick. Is anybody like a diehard Trump fan in particular? Because I'll tell you, I don't and none of them motherfuckers, to be honest. But I have conservative. I vote policy. I don't give a damn about none of these dudes' personality, right? I don't like none of them. I don't like politicians in general. So I vote on policy and pocketbook. That's how I go, right? I don't think any one of them are good. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say policy and pocketbook. I don't believe that you could say that Trump is racist, and that's fine, and I won't even try to doubt that. But you can't deny that Biden is absolutely also racist, right? They both are, right? That's just what it is, and I don't like either one.
Both sides are a cesspool. Didn't I start with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct. And I absolutely agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not sure who's a diehard Trump fan here. All of my views have been the same before Trump. Like, it will be if Trump fall off the map right now, I'm still going to vote for whoever's in the conservative pocket. I don't care. It could have been somebody else. Trump wasn't my first pick. It wouldn't have been who I would have grabbed for the primary, period. Right? But that's fine. That's who we have right now, who's representing the policies that I am more for. I can't ever get attached to a persona, man. None of that stuff. It's all trash. I'm just going by the policies. And we've been married to the Democratic Party for far too long without them really doing anything for us.
You know what? We do not take onus on why we vote and what we vote for. At the local level, we're not reaching out to our representatives or aldermen or congressmen and pushing what we want. All we doing is going and voting. We're not out there grassroots. Okay, our neighborhoods needs this. You know who are doing that? The Asians, the Jewish people, and other ethnicities. They're out there. You know what we do on the day? Yo, let's go vote. Boom, and just hit Democrat.
Generally,
so it's
generally,
our fault.
Yeah,
so who are you arguing with then, Kenny? Because you ain't arguing with us. Because we're literally saying, okay, we need to stop. He just said stop blindly voting for Democrats.
Okay, but I'm not.
Well, can we stop blindly voting for Republicans too?
Yes.
And I said it was a cesspool.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Instead, open your eyes and vote for the policy that best suits you.
Okay.
Now, what policy currently in the last, we'll say, what policy has best suited Black men, since this is King Talk, in the last 15 years?
Well, Shannon, to Kenny's point, the policies aren't determined through the president. And if you don't go locally, then what's the point of you voting? Everything we're speaking is fluff, because we're voting on a president, which we needed to vote prior to the president and need to vote more on local circumstances. Here we are having an argument about the president, which leads us to that Republican versus Democrat thing that I said earlier. And we keep saying that we're doing policy, but we're speaking political party. We're not speaking policy.
But the president literally, they picked the Supreme Court.
The president has power to convene. You know, he has the power to sign in treaties. He has the power to convene Congress. He has the power to at least push and or put certain laws and or not veto certain laws that could be to our benefit. I know as a single individual, he doesn't have that. But that's not, make no mistake, to think that he's not worthy of doing something for us, which is the case. That's what Kenny just said. LGBT they loved Obama, but then when it came to Black issues, Kenny himself said Obama had a stack of things that he wanted to do for Black folk, but he couldn't get it done. My thing is,
yeah, Mitch McConnell wasn't watching that.
If we don't have the presidential conversation, Sean, then what conversation do we have?
Congress, Senate, local officials, mayors. That's what conversation we need to be more well-versed in prior to the conversation with president. President is like looking at the finals in the NBA. Yeah, if they look at the finals in the NBA, yeah, you have a lot of excitement. It rejuvenates our energies and competitive spirits.
I think you trivialize the power of that executive order, brother. That executive order is don't trivialize the power of that executive order. When Asian Americans was getting attacked, soon as Biden came into office, I think they was getting jumped in Georgia. They was getting beat up on in California, and the lobbyists hit Washington and start putting things in action. What executive order did we create for Asians?
Lobbyists. Lobbyists. Are you
Biden just dropped an executive order today.
Lobbyists? The lobbyists did that.
That put pressure on the president to write an executive
order. The lobbyists put the pressure. That we need to identify who goes and how.
Yeah, I'm not knocking that. We shouldn't have a Black caucus. Listen, we should. Where are they? Where is the Congressional Black Caucus today? Have we even heard from them in the last fucking year? That's the point. Is the people that lobby? They lobbied on the president to make things happen, and that was written by executive order. That was the president, Biden, that put in the Asian American Violence Against Asian American Protection Act or whatever it was in record time. That was
You're
Biden that
right.
did that.
You're right. But the point that I'm making is that the lobbyists, our issue in the Black community, caucus, etc., we don't have enough unity and or trust in each other to become these lobbyists that force the president to do certain things that he's supposed to do.
That's a bar.
If we're not addressing that, then what is the point of addressing, again, the finals? Why are we addressing who should be in the finals when, in fact, we didn't look at the teams probably getting there?
Well,
all right, we got to get
Darwin
Darwin now. We get Darwin now.
Voting. Go ahead, JR.
Go ahead, Darwin.
I mean, I don't really get into politics, but what I can say is, I mean, all I do is focus. All I do and the guys I go in business with, we just focus on what's best for business, and we try to level ourselves up to a point where none of these things or none of these personalities that these politicians have an effect on us to where we can't handle it, adjust, come back to the drawing board and move forward. So I get what everybody's saying, and they talking about what's best for the people as a mass. But the way I've been operating lately, haven't been connected to a mass, and it's no shade to my people or a group or culture or anything. It's just that's what's best for what I'm doing now in my family. So wish y'all the best luck with the politics.
So if you were to get a contract for privatized jails and you just needed to pile in for it, you would?
Say that again?
If you were to get a contract with you and whomever you do business with for an addition of privatized jails, you would invest with it if you saw
I wouldn't associate myself with imprisoning people. I do have a contract with the information is classified. You got to have an SEI.
You said you do have a contract with something, and then you went.
Well, I can't disclose that information unless I can confirm.
Okay, I don't want that. So
Kenny, he did say he wouldn't associate with imprisoning. So he
I wouldn't associate my.
Okay, Marcus, he a big boy. He can speak for himself.
I got you.
Okay, so when I said that, it may be something implied that it's associated with something close to it, but you prefer to keep moms due to the respect to your project, yes?
No, it's nothing that I do is got anything to do with hosting a facility and or investing in a facility that imprison human beings.
Okay, let's move from that. You said you're out of the pocket when it comes to matters of politics, even though it may affect you down the road or presently as you do business. So you turn a blind eye to it unless it knocks on your front door. Yes?
Yeah, it does knock on the front door, but it typically knocks on the front door at business. So typically like what Trev said, I think he said somewhere along the lines of policy and stuff like that. So when those things change, especially when it comes to the financial side or the federal government side, then there's some adjustments we got to make. So I'm not the head over there. I'm just a transmission protocol specialist. I work in back end. I don't have anything to do with those changes, but I'm in the meetings. So a lot of that stuff requires a clearance on a high level. And it really, like I said, I really don't really get into the politics side unless it's that. And then even in that, I'm really not the head over there, but I do listen. And it is good for me to be a part of it and understanding how it affects the business and how we move. So, and like I said earlier, what I learned is just to try to personally level myself up to a point where none of these things that goes on with these politicians' personality can affect me and my family. I haven't experienced it yet. God forbid it happen. And I just pray that I'll be able to deal with it if it comes knocking on my door personally.
But here's the thing. It's not their personality. It's what they enact. The nepotism, the lobbyists. As for their interests and how it trickles down to you and how your nuclear family is taken care of. Do you believe that's important? Yes or no?
I don't really think any of those things you said affect how my nuclear family is taken care of. Only I can do that. I'm head of the household. So unless you can give me some examples on how that could correlate to how it affects my nuclear family.
Well, he's talking about the swamp. He's talking about the swamp, Darwin. You know, he's talking about the bureaucracy of everything that trickles down to your gas prices and how much a carton of eggs at home and a gallon of milk costs. How much your property taxes? What about your property? Because you own your home, so your property taxes, things like that.
I'm exempt for those.
What Kenny is asking is, does all those people way up there that seemingly don't touch you, does their policies matter to you when everything that they're deciding on can come and get you on the back end on how much you pay for a car or how much school costs for your children?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it has some effect on the numbers, you know, fluctuating up and down depending on who gets in office, but not to the degree of where it would make it difficult for me or make it challenging for me to adjust or approach it in a way that whereas I can make, you know, changes for the best interest of the family moving forward. And I think that's what it's all about is, I mean, you want to try to shed light on how it affects a mass of people because you feel like you belong to this mass of people. But sometimes, I'm going to be honest with y'all, sometimes I don't even feel like I belong because of how everybody moves. And I don't even think we move in a unit to where it's safe to say that we all belong to a mass group that has a mutual interest on a level to where we should be caring or should be putting a lot of energy towards it.
Where's Rilla? We need Rilla for that community discussion again.
Yeah, he gonna go all day with that.
All right, let me go to Hank. King, you want to add something to this? Or you want to go to the next?
Brothers, I apologize for my lateness, and I really don't have nothing to add because I'm lost. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna front at all. I'm lost. We all over the place, and where I thought I was catching up, and I was going to able to contribute. I guess I'm not. So I'm gonna stand down and allow y'all to have this good discussion.
Stand down and stand by.
Hey, what year did you buy your house? Your first house? What year was it?
2005.
2005. That's when Bush was in office. My pastor told me about 25 years ago. He said, Shannon, I don't know why, I can't explain it, but whenever Democrats are in office, I'm broke. And whenever Republicans are in office, I'm up. He told me that about 1999 or something. And that's always stuck with me. And so as I got older, start making money, start doing business, I noticed how my bank balances looked when Obama was in office versus when Trump was in office versus when Clinton. Then I thought back to when Clinton was in office and how I was doing versus when, you know, Bush was in office. Let me ask you, brothers, today, 2024, with Biden, and over the last 3 years, are you guys doing better than when Trump was in office, as opposed to when Obama was in office?
That's an unfair question, and let me explain to you why. Trump, we all had financial gain, but it wasn't due to Trump. It was due to a pandemic that Trump had nothing to do. As a matter of fact, that he had a lot of what was that?
What about before the pandemic? Because everybody always says the pandemic. What about
well, the point being is before the pandemic, they didn't have as many financial perks as we did during and after the pandemic. And I think that's on an overall, although it's individualized. So when we speak about our financial perks and gains that we got under the administration of Trump, albeit, yes, that is true, but can we give all credit to Trump's policies and situations? My question.
Yeah, but Sean, not everybody feels like that with Trump came in and with the pandemic that everybody was able to benefit. Not everybody was able to benefit. I had a couple buddies lost a couple business due to the pandemic. He lost employees due to the pandemic because they was getting more money and paid more by sitting on their ass than coming to work. So not everybody was beneficial.
Then, excuse me for generalizing. Excuse me for being general, because yeah, you're right. Not everybody. I wasn't blanking in it. I didn't mean to blanket it. I was generalizing, and generally speaking.
I mean, what the hell is going on tonight, man? Hold on, man. Are we talking about politics and y'all starting to get a little antsy? Is this what the fuck we doing tonight?
What
Oh,
happened?
fellas, we better than this.
Yo.
Oh, man,
Hey,
God
politics
dang.
and religion, man. That's what it is, brother.
I learned to stop talking about
It
that in
brings
the
out
army.
them horns, don't it, Terry? It brings
What?
out them
All right.
horns. I see.
Religion.
We do got to switch gears, man. We're talking about politics. We're talking about the chaos that erupts as Lori Lightfoot vows to investigate Dalton's mayor office.
Breaking tonight, one of the most chaotic meetings in Dalton that we've seen yet. Police had to stop it from getting physical.
Let's get right to political reporter Paris Schutz and the showdown between Lori Lightfoot and Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Paris.
Dawn and Scott, that showdown is continuing outside of Dalton Village Hall. Trustees voted 4-2 to override Mayor Henyard's veto and reinstate Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation into Henyard's spending into that 2023 trip to Las Vegas. And as you mentioned, soon after that vote, things just broke down into utter chaos. Multiple sides shouting obscenities at each other. Cops had to step in and break it up. This is right after Henyard and her allies tried to block Lightfoot from getting up and making some brief remarks. Eventually, Lightfoot got her mic turned on, and here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Thank you. What I will say is that it's an honor to be working on behalf of the residents of Dalton. We have not arrested one of them.
You was once a mayor too. You should not even be disrespectful like that. That's sad. Clear the room. Clear the room, guys. This means adjourn. Everybody out.
So 2 hours of absolute contention here. Lots of residents voicing their concerns. Earlier today, Mayor Henyard had the block in front of Village Hall cordoned off, making it very difficult for folks to get here, especially if you were senior or disabled. So Lightfoot's investigation, at least according to trustees, is back on now. It's going to focus into Henyard's spending of village resources as well as that 2023 trip to Las Vegas. And Henyard doesn't believe the investigation is legal. Now, residents lined up hours before the meeting. They got in, they packed the Village Hall, and they let their feelings about Mayor Henyard be known.
You're not going to understand until they put those cuffs on you. You're not going to understand it. You don't care. But baby, they on to you.
It is a shame that we, the public, can't ask you anything about the BMWs, the Range Rovers, all of that. It's like you're keeping all of that hidden from the taxpayers, and we pay for those.
You guys are following fiction, a made-up story. It is a smear campaign going on right now. People are using...
So as you can see right outside Dalton Village Hall here on MLK Drive in the village of Dalton, residents still fuming, still voicing their concerns to police officers. Police officers had to keep the peace as the meeting erupted into chaos. But the news out of this meeting, trustees vote 4-2 against Mayor Henyard. They reinstate Lightfoot's investigation into things that the FBI is also probing right now. A lot of things happening here in Dalton, and Dawn and Scott will continue to follow it in the days to come, but now we go back to you.
What's up with Illinois, man? Y'all going?
Yeah, where's Real at? My boy Real need to be up here for this one. Let me ask you this, y'all. How long ago was this?
It wasn't in the back.
Huh?
How long ago was this?
This is about a couple days
Last
ago.
year. Oh, this video like a couple days ago. I'm about to say, but she
So my question is, when is elections? It's been over. Has she been in office for 2 years now?
No, she got out. She lost the general. She ran again. She lost the general election last February. I mean, I mean, this speaks to what Kenny was talking about when he was speaking about the swamp and how it can affect people like Darwin. Where I know Darwin feels that he might be in the bubble, but when you got a mayor, like, listen, Chicago. The last time Chicago had a conservative mayor was 1930s, right? And then you look at the outcomes of stuff. And now you got this woman she failed to do her fiduciary duties and was just taking money, man. And just imagine having a credit card with the city name on it and going to Vegas and buying Suburbans and just put it on the card and shit. It's just like, yo, motherfuckers is bold with it. And they literally is trying to give her job back. It's like, how you give her job back? And the shit is she got the receipts on just buying shit that she had no business buying. So I guess my thing is, when we talk about this actually speaks to Kenny's point. I mean, to Marcus's point. Well, you know, what if there was some oversight from the federal level to make sure that Chicago was doing right? Well, the state didn't obviously do right for Chicago because she's out here doing things. You listen, but to my point, Marcus, The people of Chicago is flipping tables over in that motherfucker. The people that they say, yo, that's my money that you going to Vegas on is flipping motherfucking tables over. And I like that personally than saying, well, let me see what Washington says. And then Washington is going to tell the state of Illinois, and then the state of Illinois is going to finally trickle it down to Lori Lightfoot. So
all right, Shane.
The smaller government, man. Smaller government, in my opinion, is better.
So Shan, I appreciate that you was able to rope it in, because I sure was bringing it back, and I had 2 points about that. I didn't know that was in the next topic, but it sure came in handy that he brought that right up. So one, I think the reason that the people is so adamant right now is because of Instagram. The mayors prior to her were doing the exact same things. They've been doing this for a long time, except she went on Instagram and started flexing and throwing it in these people's face, and it got them riled all the way up. It was talk about the previous mayor going to jail too, and that they was being investigated federally. And I don't really understand why Lightfoot has to launch her own special investigation other than for political clout. If the federal government is already combing through them records with a fine-tooth comb, it kind of seems redundant, in my opinion. But whatever she got. So I just want to get a consensus. Do y'all think if they find her guilty of these crimes, she should be able to be reelected?
No, not based on if she would be convicted. If she's convicted of these particular crimes, no.
So it all depends on the policy. I mean, if the policy said that she can't run after being convicted of these specific crimes.
No, I'm saying in your personal opinion,
if
policy aside, do you
crazy
believe
enough to pick her, let her run. Let her run. If they're crazy enough to pick her, that's what you get. Let her run.
What's funny about it is we're literally going through that with Trump right now, and if we're allowing him to go ahead and continue,
that's why he brought that point up.
You stole my point. I was getting to it. You jumped.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a bad point, because I mean that's a bad point, because look at Nelson Mandela. That's a bad point, because what about Nelson Mandela then?
Clout. That's why I said
Nelson Mandela was in jail.
If she gets convicted on this particular crime, no, she shouldn't. For stealing from the city, should she be able to run the city again? No. But then you guys want to conflate that with what Trump went through with his 34 on paying what hush money to a porn star back in 2006, and comparing that to what Lori Lightfoot is doing is shopping with the city's credit card. Come on,
that's a good point. But the point is a crime is a crime. We're not conflating it with they're both crimes. We're not.
Ask me that question. Should a convicted felon be able to run for office? The answer is yes.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I actually do agree with you there. But the point being is we're literally going through it right now. So if you're going to say she shouldn't, then we gotta then double back and say he shouldn't, because a crime is a crime.
Marcus didn't ask that. Marcus said if she gets convicted on this, the answer is no. If this is she's stealing from her city, should she still be able to run the city?
Sean, that's a big difference, man. When Trump used his own money. That's a difference between using somebody else's money and using your own money.
Because I've been in corporate America and politics and all, where people use other people's money naturally, legally, unfortunately, fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I can't really lean in that direction.
Is she being is she currently being charged for that? She being currently charged?
Not yet. But charges is probably about to. They more than likely will be coming down.
Yes or no? Is she being currently charged for that?
The answer is no.
And she probably ain't. It's probably not even a law that she's breaking.
So
you gotta think about it. If the people, I believe there's people over her that police her, and if it were in fact that she was actually stealing, then she would be currently charged.
So what she did?
I mean, I'm just trying to point the finger at probably the most important source that's supposed to initiate. I think the people that's over her are supposed to be able to police her and initiate whether she need to be charged for it. Like, it's always somebody monitoring what you're doing, and if it's totally fine, then I mean, if it's wrong, then obviously she would be charged. I don't think she's doing anything wrong. She ain't been charged yet.
No, but Darwin, you know she was kicked out of office though.
Oh, so she was kicked out of office for it.
So yeah, but it's the difference between was she criminally or even civilly charged for a crime versus did she get fucking kicked out of office?
So getting kicked out of office is on popularity. You can easily get kicked out of office if it swings in the wrong direction. That's politics is entertainment right now, which was my original point, and it's an unfortunate reality that we're dealing with and speaking about right now.
So my question is, did she get kicked out for stealing?
Yes. Okay,
so that's what she got kicked out for.
No. Here's the thing: she mismanaged the city's money by buying shit she had no business buying. Here's the thing: is that against the law? No. We entrust to put these people in office to take the city credit card and buy the things for the people of the city. She went and bought shit claiming it was for the city, writing up receipts, making it look like it was for the city, but it was really her and her alone benefiting from it. That's not technically illegal, but it's certainly immoral. And the people of Chicago said, "Get out of here."
Who kicked her out? Was it the city or the people voted her out?
The people.
What's the difference? Oh, no, she was voted out. She was ousted. She was ousted.
Okay, so there's a difference because if she was put out if the office put her out, then it's on the record that the reason why she got put out is for mismanaging funds. But if people voted her out, then it's really not like on the record that she was put out for mismanaging funds. She probably just put out because people didn't want to consider her to continue.
Well, that's why she ran again, brother. That's why she ran again. She ran again.
My whole point is she's not even guilty of any of the things that we're talking about.
Guilty in the court of law? No. That's why she ran again. And that's why she didn't even qualify on the last. She ran again last year. She didn't qualify. And so she missed it. And now they're trying to give her that's what the video was showing. They trying to let her, you know what? We was kind of wrong, or it's a few people and some friends and rub my shoulder and under the cover of dark. And now they trying to bring her back in. And that's why the people in Chicago was turning tables over like, oh, hell no. Nah. The fuck are y'all doing up here? So that's what's happening.
That's interesting. It's a slippery slope that you just spoke about, Jan, which is morality. And how are we going to sit here and try and judge morality and have a continued conversation about any politician for the most?
Morality was the wrong word. I think he meant ethics. It's unethical.
Yeah,
I mean that's synonymous. I'm not going to argue the semantics.
Morality and ethics are not
in the context. In the context that he used it,
that's not semantics.
I'm not arguing. You're right. I'm not arguing that.
Two different things.
I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that I don't want to get caught up. What we do often is we get caught up on context and semantics, and we argue about it. And
it matters.
And it does. Context does matter. I agree, but we argue about which context should matter. And that's really pointless.
I got you. I did really mean ethics. I'm glad because ethics speaks to what you're doing with my shit. Moral just means, do you like porn? Moral just means, do you like to smoke weed? Do you like to, do you like to cuss? Do you like to talk shit with the boys in the locker room? And do you call bitches? Ethics are what? Shit. Let me see. This is
what's funny is that
here's the city's money. Let me put mine over here. So the term ethics actually does apply. Now, let me ask you this. I get what you're saying because, like, why are we having a moral discussion when all these motherfuckers are crooks? All of them, all sides, Democrats, Republicans, conservative, all these politicians none of them ain't shit. That's where Trev's point is. Fuck all of them because they all crooks and they all want to line their pockets. And then when we talk about Trump, we know he lining his pockets. So how is it that we can ignore his morals versus her morals? Well, ethically, did Trump do anything to hurt the country? Versus ethically, did Lori Lightfoot do anything to hurt Chicago?
Yes, ethically, Trump did a lot to hurt the country. The division that he caused because of his personal position did a lot to the country. And we're going to sit here and act like that.
We're going to act like January 6th never happened. We're going to act like he didn't bring his kids in to go around the emoluments clause when they were doing business on behest of their family.
I just want to ask,
and making hundreds of millions, dealing with the good old brothers over there, the Emirates.
Yeah, what happened on January 6th? We obviously disagree, Kenny, me, especially me being the guy. Yeah, we disagree on that one, brother.
Knock my points down. Did he not want to go down there? Did they not testify?
He did not
the
cause
lady
an
that was
insurrection.
with him
No,
that stated
he did not incite an insurrection, Kenny.
Okay,
he tried to stop
wait. You didn't even let me get it out.
Just go to his,
I do owe you.
Twitter account.
The only apology I owe you is on the one with the Willie Lynch. That was actually the Drax, but that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, you were supposed to send me that letter.
Because I was just so I
guess
do
you
owe
never
you an
found
apology there. But that insurrection thing.
See how you go? That was a quick apology.
No. I'll have it. But the insurrection thing, you're saying he played no part in inciting that?
Yeah, he didn't incite an insurrection. He didn't incite an insurrection. No.
All right. Let me just say this. Is it safe to suggest that because that lady got on the microphone asking for the receipts from the purchase she made, means that they don't even have any confirmation that she was using the funds illegally?
Correct.
So she could be potentially been put out of office without any confirmation that she did any of those things that she was put out for.
She's still in office.
Woo!
She's still the
We know what happened. We know what happened. She got fired so that they couldn't charge her. Like,
Good point, Darwin. And the reason why it's a great point is because we often back to lobbyists. That's why we don't have any unification often amongst us, because we sit there and we will run with a story that makes our emotions flare. And we speak about it when it comes to genders, and we speak down on people who run with their emotions, but we're just as guilty when it comes to politics and often religion.
All right. I kind of want to get some of the people that haven't spoke so we can go ahead and switch gears. Luis, you wanted to say anything, Hink? No, you good? All right, Hink.
They like fuck all these politicians, all of them.
Pretty much.
That's Hink. I know that's Hink's position. Fuck all them motherfuckers up there. They all crooks.
I know that's right.
There's only one politician I knew that.
But Shannon, you was right. The last Republican that was in office in Chicago was 1923, I believe it was. 1923.
Damn.
That
like
Dalton, they could pretend they don't see the difference.
That's not
they
Chicago.
like pretend they don't see the difference. I never saw as many foreclosure signs, as many businesses with for rent signs as when Obama was in office. I've never seen that in my neighborhood in New York like that before.
Wait a minute.
That was under Obama? Saw a drastic. That was under Obama, my brother.
That was under Obama.
I saw.
But was
I'm telling you my experience. Are you not hearing me, bro?
Nah, Bush wild out. Bush wild out. He allowed that crazy shit to go down.
Brother,
with they were betting on bad loans. He ran in.
Actually, work in the city, brother.
I gotta tell you, I'm independent. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Obama didn't fuck shit up like y'all trying to say.
We ain't talking about your experience.
Wait. Can we hear what he said? Yeah, New York City. New York City can have.
No.
I was the one talking. What's wrong with y'all, nigga? I was talking.
Good.
What you mean? Can we? What? I was talking.
I like the hard ER, but I could take it. I was there when they started boarding up, brother. I know.
That's good for you. I don't care what your experience is. We're talking about my experience. No, I'm talking about Kenny.
Facts. I'm not putting my feelings in it.
Kenny, I don't care.
Oh, so you're doing your feelings?
I
don't
care. No,
are you doing your feelings or what is factual?
I'm telling you, I do not care, which is a lack of feelings.
Wait, so you're doing your feelings rather than the facts?
Not caring is not having feelings. I'm explaining to you that what you're talking about is something I have no feelings for. So you don't have to say it because I don't care.
I'm giving. Wait. We're having a discussion. So
no, we're not. I was talking and you interrupted me with some nonsense.
Oh, wait. And now we're going back and forth. You never interrupted someone to impart something. We're not on a panel.
I didn't say I never did. I just told you what you did. I don't know where you're going with this. Like, what's the point you're trying to prove? Get to the point you're trying to prove. I don't know what you're trying to do here. Like, why do you do this every time on King Talk, bro? Like,
I said
it's lame.
That was not. So I challenged your point. So
you didn't challenge your point. You think you're challenging points, and all you did was
I don't want to hear what you're talking about because I'm talking.
Guys,
you freestyling?
We're denigrating the show. We don't want to do that.
Wait. When did that start,
Respectfully,
Shannon?
I don't mean to denigrate the show, but I was given an example. I had the mic.
Hold on, Kenny, let him
I
finish.
had the mic. I was given an example of my experience. And in the middle, of me giving that experience,
What I'm trying
Kenny
to
felt
do
the need
is
to
I'm not
share his
trying to place
as if
blame. Hold
anybody
on.
cared.
Stop, hold on. I'm not trying to place blame and say who did what. I'm just trying to push the conversation. And we can have a sad conversation about who did what and have that talk afterward. So just let Clout finish, and then
I want to hear Clout
right.
finish.
Then
Then
I'm
hit
gonna
him
give an
back.
opportunity Kenny to respond to him.
Yeah, I'm done. Clout, you act tough, man.
Y'all both from New
Because
York.
I'm
How
in
y'all
New
don't get
York.
along?
You done?
Clout, you
Clout,
said
I'm in New York.
You said you haven't seen
Both
that
are tough. Let's not go there.
No,
Clout,
I'm
can
not
you
tough.
finish?
I'm not tough.
He pulled
Well, can we finish?
No, he
Can
just
we,
Yo, did y'all
Clout,
just hear JR? Did y'all just hear JR?
yeah, Clout, can you
I'm
finish?
in New York.
Hold on,
And
gentlemen. We just having a discussion about politics, about Mayor and Dalton. Let's just be respectful on the panel. Let's go ahead and push through. We got people that's
Tell
watching.
me wherever you want to
You
tell
just
me.
did. You just did what West did last week, bro.
Go ahead, Clout.
I'd like to hear Clout's finish his point because he was in the middle of something.
Checkmate.
He was talking about foreclosures. What were you saying about foreclosures, Clout?
like I was saying,
Some people
throughout
got
the
shit
entire
twisted
8
about
years,
me.
of Obama's presidency, I had never seen as many foreclosures, for sale signs, for rent signs on businesses, particularly in my community, ever before in my life. Almost immediately after Trump became president, I saw all those businesses that were closed. New businesses were opening in those same spots that said for rent a couple months before. Those same houses that wasn't selling and were boarded up was now being sold and now being renovated. This is my experience in my community. So again, I don't know what y'all particular experiences are in your community, but I'm going to be the one to say that I'm going to second what Shannon said. I have seen a drastic difference between when there's Republican leadership and when there's Democrat leadership in my community, particularly. That's my experience. I've landed.
All right, go ahead, Kenny.
Do you believe that?
Hold on, Shannon. We gotta let Kenny get in there. No, Kenny wanted to go ahead and start. Go ahead, Kenny.
You second Shannon's thoughts. Shannon's in New York. What businesses are back? Are they consolidating? I do most of the fiber works for businesses that are now outsourcing because now they got to out so they don't have to pay overpriced leases. Those places are no longer boarded up, but they're in idle. The majority of businesses are now outsourced to homework. You understand? When
you
they
just
started
asked two questions that are unrelated.
When Trump got into presidency, and when the stimmy money dried up, and when the SBA money and the PPP money started getting real back, and they had to friggin' account for it rather than all the scams that they put together. When those certain people didn't know what to do with the money, and then it started drying up, that's when you saw broad daylight break-ins on Fifth Avenue, Soho, NoHo, those places that I work in over going on 30 years. I actually seen it. So
yes.
You tell me different.
Yes, every time we discuss the Trump presidency, people love to talk about what happened during the pandemic and after. The very last 9 months. But everyone likes to try to completely ignore what happened.
I'm the wrong person.
Hold on. Stop. Right. People like to ignore that stock markets values were higher than they had ever been. People want to ignore that property values were going up, wages were going up, people were buying new cars, new houses. The economy was up. I don't know what kind of imaginary world y'all are trying to pretend.
I just pointed out why it was up. I pointed out one of the major factors it was up.
You didn't point out anything. You talked about what happened during the pandemic.
You just wanted
No, I heard what you said. You specifically mentioned SBA money drying up. You specifically mentioned PPP loan money, and you specifically mentioned stimulus money. All of those things happened in the last year of Trump's presidency, which is why I said what I said. So no, Kenny, I listened to you. I listened to you, and I tailored my response to what you said.
Stimmy money for 9 months.
The stimulus money came after the pandemic. There was no stimulus money before the pandemic that I recall.
Wrong. You was getting that money during the pandemic.
Who was
You were
getting
getting
stimulus
that
money?
money during the
Yes.
pandemic.
When I say after the pandemic, I mean
It was
after
not
COVID.
after. You were getting that money. You was getting that money
This right?
during the pandemic.
Yes, during the pandemic. When I say
You
after
said
the pandemic,
after.
whoa. When
Correct
I
it.
say
Say I
after,
misspoke.
I'm trying to explain that when I say after, I mean after day one. After day one, when we first found out about the pandemic, there was
After
a
March.
period. After March, there was a period called the pandemic. I'm talking about after day one, when it was called a pandemic, to the point where it stopped being called a pandemic.
You know why the
During that
market went
time,
up? You had a bunch of
Kenny,
crooked politicians that
during
invested
that
in stuff.
time, Kenny, is when the stimulus was happening. But before the pandemic, before people started getting COVID-19, there was no stimulus money. So I don't know what you're talking
That's a
about.
fact. But you said
March
that happened, and I'm gonna hold you to your words. The latter part, the last 9 months. That is what you just said. That's why
I said during the
challenged you.
pandemic. I said during
You
the
was getting
pandemic.
money during the pandemic when they made a plan, when they see people could not go to work, and the stock market rose because of certain companies.
Okay,
Now,
so let's talk about the first 3 years, because you're still
can't get
talking
it
about the
out
last
because
year.
he
Let's talk
just
about the
wants
first
to
three.
respond.
Yeah, the
Let's
pandemic
talk
was
about
March
the first
11th,
3 years.
2020. That's when it in America.
I just
it
want to
was worldwide. It was declared by the WHO in December of 2019. In America, March 11th. Everybody remember that date. March 11th, 2020 is when we said we have a pandemic here in America. Everything stops. And so when I heard Clout say after the pandemic, I'm thinking he's assuming after March 11th when everything stopped. And then that's when like during the pandemic, while that pandemic is going on, that's when the stimmies start coming and people start doing the PPPs and all that other kind of stuff. So are we talking about, Clout, were you talking about the growth that happened in 2020, or were you talking about the growth that happened since 2016 leading up into 2020?
I'm just talking about the 8 years of
Man,
Obama.
you giving
I'm
him
talking
a
about
way
8
out.
years of Obama. And I'm talking about literally the first year Trump president. I'm talking about
So
the
then if
drastic
that's the
difference
case,
All right.
in
So,
my
so
own
let
climate.
me say this one thing.
Are you saying, or let me just ask him this. Are you saying, Clout, that that's because of Trump? Now, I'm going to go against what I was saying, but my pastor told me. Do you think maybe because of the policies that Obama put in place, they started kicking in effect during Trump, and then all these businesses started popping because of what Obama did when he was there, and it started kicking in and started going into effect during Trump?
The reason why I don't think that is
he
because
took credit for the job growth.
the reason why I don't, well, it was
he
my
took
question,
credit
Kenny.
for-
The question was for me, Kenny. So my brother, relax. But no, I don't think so, Shannon. And the reason why I don't think so is because from what I saw within the first year, Trump undid half of the shit that Obama did, and yet the growth still continued to increase. It actually increased more when he
He did
undid
not
the stuff
touch
that
the
Obama
job
did.
market.
It's
All right,
really
so
easy to figure out
I do.
because all of those effects, you can research it and you don't have to think about it. You can actually
John,
prove it one
you
way or
said
the
the
other.
latter part. That's when I'm gonna hold you to what you said. You can't walk it back unless you walk it back. You said the last 9 months is when people started getting stimmy. That is incorrect. 6 months in, after 2020, they had to make a plan because people were home. They were not working, and they worked on that quick. And then those politicians that did the illegal insider trading for like Zoom and other companies were making oodles and oodles of money. And that's in part a good part of why the stock market rose. Those people that were doing puts and shorts and stuff.
Was that
the
in year
market
1,
rose.
2, 3,
Those
or
people
4?
that had
Kenny,
investments within.
was that in year 1, 2, 3, or 4 of Trump's presidency? Which year of Trump's presidency was that most prevalent? The
Okay,
first,
we
the
were
second,
talking the
the third, or the
pandemic. We're
last?
not moving the goalposts.
So what year is that? So what year is that? So
Okay.
what year of his presidency is that? The
Okay,
first, the
we were
second, the third,
talking
or
about
fourth?
the pandemic.
The
We're not
first,
going to let
the
you move the
second, the
goalposts.
third, or the fourth?
Okay, again,
The
we're talking
first,
about the
the
pandemic. That's
second,
where we.
the third, or the fourth?
Again, I'm gonna
The
stay right
first,
where we're at.
the second, the third, or the fourth, Kenny? You got
Okay.
4 options, my brother. You
Wow.
got 4.
Again,
Pick one.
Wow.
Pick
All right,
one.
let's
gonna stay where
get
we
Trev
were.
getting there, man.
All right. All right.
I'm gonna stay
Let's
where we
let,
were.
All
The
right. I just
pandemic.
let
wanted to
Trev
say.
get in there for a second, y'all.
I just
Go
wanted
ahead,
to say
Trev.
the one thing, right? So, me personally, right? I'm neither nor, right? I'm not a Republican or Democrat. If you had to describe me, the closest thing I would say would be like a libertarian, right? So, as far as don't open your mouth that long, Shannon. No, but I was gonna say
What?
this. So
I just knew you was gonna
only
say
cause
independent. I didn't think you was gonna say
Nah,
libertarian. Just
yeah.
free for all, huh? Let's all get high and fuck everybody.
No, it ain't no. I don't get high personally. But if that's what you want to do,
What?
go ahead and do it. Right, live and let live. So my thing is this: Clinton left us with a surplus, right? So regardless of whether we like him or not, Democrat, Republican, we had a surplus. George W. Bush was a Republican and he sucked real bad. That's undeniable. No matter which side you stand on, you probably would say that man sucked ass real bad, right? Probably one of the worst presidents in history. Left us in crazy debt. When Obama came in, he had his hands full, right? And even though there are certain things I didn't approve of at all, there were certain things I really didn't like. But the all the major banks were done, right? And people said, F them, let them go. Let the American banks go. The three major car companies were on their knees. They said, let them go. Obama said, no, we about to save these goddamn American companies. And he was able to bring those up. Right? So I don't want to completely trash the homeboy because a lot of the things that he did, when you get in there, you know that certain groups, everybody except black people, put things on the table and they say, listen, we're going to ride for you. But this is what you're going to do, right? The alphabet community said, look, this is what we want. We need this. This is what we're going to vote. We got you, but this is what you're going to do, right? We never did that. We never brought anything to the table to say, look, this is what we need to do. We want you to do this for us. We didn't have that. And a lot of the things were blocked. You could barely mention Obama's name without mentioning Mitch McConnell because that dude was cock blocking harder than anybody ever. The dude was Matumbo out here blocking anything. He literally made a statement to say, my job is to make sure that nothing he wants to pass passes. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the motive. So he was kind of goaltended. So that was tough. So even though I'm more conservative now, I can't really shit on homeboy because he tried at least to do his things. At least it was apparent. We don't know what the real deal was. He's still a politician, but it was apparent that he kind of had an idea that he wanted to do the right thing. And I'll say that, right? How he executed it, that's debatable. Now, as far as our next guy, we got if we're gonna jump to Trump right now, we know what he's trying to do. As far as capitalism, if you were down for the capitalist society, you're with that, right? If you were down for traditional values, there's so many things that, and a lot of us, we all complain about this crazy feminism nonsense that's going on right now. This is all pushed by the left, and it's getting real bad. It's getting worse. A lot of the complaints that we have are supported by the left, right? And the reason why, if you're looking at the states who decided to say, you know what, we're going to make sure that there's a mandatory paternity test before we just default men into child support. A Democratic state will never, ever, ever, ever do that. That's just what it is, right? If we're talking about, oh, you know what? It was Ron DeSantis who said, you know what? Why the hell are we allowing dudes to pay alimony for the rest of their lives? That was a Republican state again.
Shout out to Florida.
So
shout out to Florida.
Yes. So we just have to understand what it is that speaks to you and yourself, right? No matter what side you're on. I've become more conservative now only because a lot of the things, it's certain things that I'm not with. I don't want my children to be sharing, well, my daughter to be sharing a bathroom with a grown-ass man, right? Because he says he's a woman. That ain't it. Right. And that's what the left is talking about right now. They're saying it's OK to do that. And I don't want her to have to compete against a grown ass man in any sports that she wants to get into. That's why I for family values, right, for the sake of my children, I'm now more conservative because we are now in a fight for our families. We are in a fight for our children. And that's why I have become this way now, because that's what's important to me. That's what speaks to me now. But if this decides to calm down at any point, I might be, more swaying to another side. It depends on how extreme it is. Because right now, the problem is Republicans have become hard right, and Democrats way left now. That's the problem now. And people, we've become these facts now we're the point at where we can discuss our own families without it becoming extremely tension. Politics is tough, but it never has been this tough. We just have to be faction off. We have to, you got to pick a side now. It's crazy. Like, we go against our own family. You having arguments with your sisters and brothers now because they have different political views. It's that deep right now. It's become crazy. The channels have all like picked a side, and now it's become entertainment, like we've mentioned before. We can't even see straight anymore. I just want us to just look at what works for you. That's all. I'm going to beat that in your head for the rest of the night. Pause. Just listen to what works for you, what resonates for you, your family, and what's going to make your life better. And I don't care what anyone says. It's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. Because even if some of us are in a position where we're going to find a way to be good economically no matter what. But when it comes to your children and your family values, you have to be concerned about that. And guess what? It's going to affect you, like it or not, because your children are going to have to dwell in society.
Is there a solution to make sure that you have some insurance in case the worst case scenario happens? Like, for example, I think, and I'm glad I got a bunch of well-knowledge brothers on the panel that can probably help me with this. But I think if you can get yourself to a point where you don't have to work anymore, maybe that is probably a good option. I mean, it could be retirement, disability, something. I mean, I don't know. What are y'all thoughts on that?
It's all still government, though.
Yeah, I was going to say the value of being able to own your own, plant your own, suffice on your own will probably be your best bet. And we aren't really exercising that in our community that I'm aware of.
So when y'all say it's all still government, are y'all saying they're gonna just stop paying to run the military?
We're saying that there's a possibility that they can stop whenever it is or whatever it is that we're not in the power to do so.
I've seen that happen before, and it was only for a brief moment where they.
That's because
the government shut down, and I think people in the military wasn't paid for a particular time, but for the most part, our armed forces is not gonna. I don't think this is gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be to the effect of where we just stop paying our.
Darwin, us veterans, we good. But
that's what I mean.
But everybody hadn't joined the military, and everybody's not a veteran. So what about everybody? So now you got to talk about Social Security. Ask the question: is Social Security going to just stop?
Well, no. But
you're going to be around by the time you get to access it.
You make the perfect point. So I'm willing to side with you on the fact that most people who haven't joined yet, or can't join, or don't meet their eligibility, are collateral. Maybe. I know it sucks to say that, but. I'm talking about we were talking about. Hold on, wait. Yeah, we were talking about our children. I think Trev touched on the children.
Just let them die, Darwin. Just let them die, huh?
Well, I'm just trying to focus on what a solution could be. I know that it's hard to save the people that's out of that window where they can actually go and be a veteran. But I would say to Trev, I think Trevor's making a strong point. Okay, now I'm connected to it because of the kids. It matters. So I'm saying, for the sake of the children, if young guys was listening to it and they actually meet the criteria to join the service, I think that would be a solution that can give you insurance that no matter what happened, you wouldn't be affected.
I think it gives you a sense of security. But really, if they attack our power grid and dismantle it, you will find out that that's not even secure. So again, back to the point of being able to grow your own, build your own.
The government would attack our own? Or are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about if someone attacked our government power grid and was able to successfully do that, God forbid, we will be in turmoil. All of those things that we are false senses of security that we have right now, including money, the paper that we will be dismissed. Now everything is going electronically, so money is starting to become less and less available and used. So there are things that are leading to that. Now, if they shut down our power grid and electronics, we don't have access to our revenue. We don't have access to our electric cars. We don't have access to our computers. We don't have access to our cell phones.
I get what you're saying.
Where do we go from there?
So basically, if they shut down any of the necessary resources that we need to survive, there's no way. So like if they attacked our water source or oxygen or some shit, there's no way around it. So basically, the answer to my question is there's no way to ensure that you can't be affected by
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm answering your question. There is a way. We gotta value those places. We gotta value water sources. There's a lot of people who have water sources, for example, because I'm in the water business, in their family.
What if
And
they attack that? You just said that they attack.
no, what I'm sharing with you is that if we preserve it, because they're not going to attack everything, they're not going to be able to attack the whole country and everything dismantled, but they will target larger, places that will disrupt it significantly enough to where everything can go in turmoil.
Y'all ain't seen the
You
movie
just said
Leave the
the
World
power grid.
Behind?
What about the guys who are putting
watch
solar
Leave the
panels
World
up?
Behind.
The
What
whole
would you do?
entire colony
Hey,
up
man,
of solar
we
power.
all talking over each other, and we got to transition, y'all. So let's just go ahead and bring this to a close. I
What would
know
you do,
Luis
JR?
haven't had a chance to say anything, but I do want to kind of get to you guys next.
Luis and JR, what would you do if we had to get into Leave the World Behind? What would you do? Your phone shut down, your cell phone shut down. The power is intermittent. The grocery stores are cleared. What would you do where you live right now, JR?
What I do as far as what? Just
You
trying
ever
to
seen the movie
survive?
Leave the World Behind that Obama executive produced that's on Netflix?
Yeah, I seen it.
Where the plane?
Yeah,
What would
Julia
you do
Roberts.
right now if some shit? If you heard sirens and this shit got cut down, what would you do for the next 3 months? How would you
Well,
survive?
I mean, for me, one, I don't live in an overly dense, metropolitan city area. But I would say this,
Smart.
that, what I'm saying? One, I'm 2.5 hours from New York and about 45 minutes from Boston and an hour and a half from New Haven. And sort of those are the major cities. And then obviously mine's is like, 15, 20 minutes from here. But for me, if I don't already have the main essentials in my close proximity, I'm going to the closest, CVS to get whatever, first aid and all those basic essentials. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, water is very important. And then, start collecting the things that really, really matter. Everything else is just extra. Entertainment, all that shit got to go. And just focus on that. And then now start looking at food, how to ration food, canned food, right? What things to save. Water collection. There's no more running water. There's no power, right? How do you collect that? How do you harvest that? Fishing, other alternatives.
Louis, it seemed like you be hurt.
I know
You
I'm
be
fucked,
hurt.
but
I'm lucky I had grandparents. My grandfather, he taught me how to cut, kill, and quarter animals in Tortola because I watched him and I helped. So if I saw a deer, I know what to do. If I saw an animal, I know what to do.
What would you do if you
And
saw
Yeah, I
a
got
deer?
deer in my backyard.
Yeah, but that's the
I
thing
would know
about it.
how to
Not
feed me.
every
And the
area
AR.
has not every area has those particular type of animals.
ain't no deers
Animals.
in LA.
If you got a
I'm in the
squirrel,
concrete
I know
jungle.
how to eat.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's interesting because to the point that
Man, we gotta move on to another topic.
Go ahead, JR. Go ahead, JR.
Yeah, we keep talking about this. I mean, Shan, I'm gonna make sure my family is good. I'm out here in Texas, so there's a lot of animals around.
Oh, you in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was in Chicago. I don't know why I thought
Also,
you was in Chicago.
also have guns ready
See,
as
all
well.
y'all in the country, y'all good. Everybody in the country right now. If calamity happened, the fucking apocalypse happened, and the sky started falling, all of y'all that got woodsy backgrounds and and fireflies and deer and shit like that, y'all are good. I'm in LA. It's a concrete jungle. There ain't no just go to CVS. By the time I'm fucked.
Shannon, we both in LA, and I feel I'm with you.
Well, Shane, you better get with your cousins from the South. Then that's what you
Get
better
ammo.
do.
Listen,
Get with
Shane,
your cousins from the South.
Get
Man,
the
we got it.
ammo. Find out where the old people live. Everything else is gonna fall into place.
God damn.
Just tune in. Welcome to King Talk. Hank gonna come into you next on the first topic. We got Ikane. $5 says she was impeached last year. She appealed her impeachment to a judge and was reinstated by a judge. She wasn't reelected into office last year. Got Brother Viz says, them dams tanked the economy by wanting to shut down. Trump wanted it open. Mother efforts brains is fried. Laughing emoji. All right, we're going to get to this next topic, man. We're going to talk about this WNBA. I wanted to put it on the back end. It's been a whole lot of controversy, man. I got a few videos I'm going to play in between. Hank, I'm coming to you first. I know you're the sports expert. I'm going to go ahead and play this heated debate between Monica and Stephen A. Smith.
Talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let me, I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a black man?
Being black. Hold on 1 second. Have you? So this is what I'm saying to y'all though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there. Maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. When you no. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are gonna say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right. Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go. You guys.
So did you say
you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
A., I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
All right, let's.
You're my guy, but I'm talking to you.
I got it.
Guys, I really appreciate.
You're my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys.
Nobody was, Monica.
Guys,
you making Stephen A. point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A. point.
Please let me do my job. Please let me do my job. We've gone for 40 minutes straight. It was a riveting discussion. I have to get into commercial break.
God, I did.
Look, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You can't play with them. You can't win with them. You can't coach with them. Can't do it, fellas.
You know, but Shane, you know the bad thing about it is we hear a lot of our people say that all the time. People who are less fortunate. Well, man, I appreciate you donating a few turkeys to the homeless, but you could have donated more. I appreciate you giving that money, but you could have gave more. Man, just be grateful for what you got. Just be grateful for what you got. Why do we do this?
How much money does the WNBA make, Pink?
No money.
Nothing.
They in debt. I mean, the NBA furnishes every year. I mean, they in debt. And the fact is, 1 minute you want to be overly independent and do your own thing, but then you need the NBA to furnish everything without you. So now you look. Let's be honest, man. That girl that pushed Caitlin Clark, that's indicative of the whole WNBA. What she did, she spoke for the whole WNBA. Everywhere she goes, she gets that type of treatment. Why? They feel some type of way getting this little pretty snow bunny. Now she ain't pretty for real. I'm just saying that. Pretty for real. But yeah, ain't pretty about her. But they feel some type of way about this woman. Why? Because the WNBA is being talked about because she's in the league. Now, prior to that, the WNBA wasn't even a conversation. But now it is because you have this young lady who's a lead scorer of all time of college basketball. Now she's in the WNBA doing her thing. Look, why would you mess up the cash cow? We're getting charter flights now. You know what I'm saying? We staying in better hotels. Revenues increase. Fan supports increase. Ticket sales increase. But you want to keep taking shots at the cash cow. Ride it to the end.
That's too logical.
I mean, they sound like some of these old heads who used to be feel some type of way. Some of these young guys coming there playing, they're doing it their own way. Look, I applaud these young cats doing their own way. People like Kyrie Irving speaking his mind, doing his own thing. I applaud young brothers like that, man. I want them to be outspoken. Guys like Jaylen Brown, I want to see these young brothers be outspoken. But WNBA, y'all got a long way to go. And y'all crying about finances and money, but y'all really trying to mess up the cash cow. Because please believe, if that girl gets injured and she's missed a certain amount of game, attendance going to go down. Viewership's going to go down. Ticket sales going to go down. Nobody going to want to see y'all bullshit ass league. Nobody cares.
What?
Now that you got a certain audience, ride this to the end. Ride this to the end. That don't make sense to me. So for this young lady talking about, well, 3 years ago, you could have talked about bullshit, man. It wasn't worth talking about. Who was in the WNBA worth talking about 3 years ago? What one player, individual player worth talking about? Nobody. Not one player was worth talking about. They was all in college. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and that other little girl from South Carolina. Those are the up-and-coming players that's worth talking about. Now that they're there, you know what I'm saying? Caitlin Clark, Reese, the girl Reese is getting a different type of treatment. She getting treated well. They not mean mugging, dogging her ass out. Or that other chick from South Carolina, Reese's teammate. They not doing her like that. But they mess with that little white girl. They fucking with her. You understand why? You feel some type of way. You feel some type of way, and that's all it is, man. I'll let it there, bro.
Hold on, Travis.
Did anybody?
Hold on, let me get Darwin in there and Luis. And they haven't been talking in a while. Go ahead, Darwin.
Well, I think what the lady wanted Stephen A. to do was just become unfiltered and say the similar things that Hank said. It just wasn't worth talking about, and I think she exposed that because a lot of those analysts don't have the balls to be able to do that. I guess they're trying to protect the brand and their job. But I think we in an area where you should be able to be like, hey, look, the reason why we ain't talk about the WNBA 3 years because y'all weren't worth talking about. Y'all ain't making no damn money. Y'all ain't getting no headlines. It ain't no popularity built around it. That's why we didn't talk about y'all. But they don't have they don't have the balls to go and just stand up to the woman and say it. And I think she knew that. That's why she was poking the beehive to see if she can get any of those them brothers to come out and just be real. So it's just a lack of authenticity on there. That's why I think that's why he said he had to talk about it on his own show. So I'm willing to bet that if it ain't already happened, he probably went on his show and said exactly what Hank said. And I yield.
All right, go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, he had a rebuttal for her on his show, but I mean, this is an opportunity. See, this is why I don't understand it. And Shannon said it right. It's too logical. This is an opportunity to really change the conversation and the paradigm of where the WNBA is headed. We have new, younger, more exciting players that have entered the league. The game is changing and evolving, right? There's something to create a rally behind. You know what I'm saying? Sort of like those famous competition between the LA Lakers and the Celtics, and you have the college rivalries, right? Entering the league. That same momentum, that same fire needs to continue on in order to kind of create a story. There has to be this drama, this theatric built up behind certain players, to capture the attention of a new audience. And if it's working, and ride that wave. I don't understand why people are so fixated just because, because she's white. I was like, this one white player is not going to change the entire, energy of the league. You know what I'm saying? It's the story behind it. It's the lineup, it's the competition, it's the narrative of where things are going. And I think that, unfortunately, for the commentator, she didn't really see the writing on the wall, and she was trying to poke. Because before that, Nobody was really watching the NBA, the WNBA. Women themselves, more women show up to more boxing and MMA fight events than they do to the WNBA game all season. I know this because I attend those. You know what I'm saying? But they're complaining about attendance showing up for the WNBA. Look, man, people will support whatever is happening at the time. And at the time, the WNBA wasn't being supported because nobody was watching. But now they are. Just ride the wave.
Hold on, Sean. Hold on, Sean. I'm play this video, then I'm gonna go to Kenny. This is Stephen A. Smith's rebuttal.
You ever heard of Monica McNutt? You have now, because she's on First Take a lot. Shanae Ogumake, absolutely wonderful, spectacular basketball analyst, etc., WNBA player in her own right. Ask her how it's been to be on First Take. How about Andrea Carter, who's a rising star in this business? How much do you think First Take helped that? What about Kimberly Martin? What about Molly Kiram herself? Now, I have sat back for years and taken a lot of shit from people. Some who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Some who act like they don't know just because they want to get at me. I could care less about people getting at me. I just want you to be accurate.
All right, Stephen A. Smith rebuttals. Go ahead, Kenny.
He's a hypocrite. I heard what Hank said. That white lady is the new cash cow for the league. But guess what? Angel Reese is getting her lumps. She just got clotheslined a couple days ago. She's getting her beatings as a rookie. But it's only more polarizing because it's Caitlin Clark. And she's selling out. And she has the biggest contracts. The league is actually picking up. And she's like the new great white hope. Stephen A. Smith, when challenged, is petty. And he surrounds himself, his narcissistic butt, with people that align with his views. And if you challenge him, you're now to be ostracized and put to be dissected. Say it's fair. A lot of people wasn't watching the WNBA. It's not worth the watch. But now there's a new rise, new marketing, new faces. They're actually picking up percentage-wise. They are in the red. But you can't feel any way for Stephen A. Smith. What happened to Max Kellerman? What happened to Marcus Wiley? People that challenged, that were at par or more intelligent than him, that challenged him. Got him out the way. You understand? Now, McNutt, now he's going on another show and trying to castrate her for her views. He could have easily challenged it right then. I may have, and he should have stood on his square. Just like Hank said. Well, I didn't see the value of promoting them. He's a man of many words, right? He could have had the rebuttal right there and put it to bed. He didn't have to wait for another show. If you ask me, that's cowardice. Have the conversation right there and put it to bed. You go on a whole show, and it wasn't just a little 5 minutes. He dedicated a good amount of time dissecting her as a person. I watched it. I thought that was corny. Hank, you do have a point. But right now, a dynamic change is going in the WNBA. Aaliyah Boston. I know her because she's from the Virgin Islands. Two people. My mom know her mom. She got a sneaker contract, the Virgin Islands sneaker from Adidas. There's a change going. I believe certain players deserve the protection, like Jordan deserved the protection. But I think it's more polarizing that the people that are making it a big deal happen to be people not of our melanin. I digress.
Kenny, and the fellas, am I tripping? Or is the argument that Stephen A is making not so much that he needed to rebuke why he didn't speak about them 3 years ago because they weren't worth it? He opened his when the clip that I just watched was, did you know who this woman was before today? I think it sounded like in Stephen's, that's why he was kind of like speechless. It looked like he's saying basically, okay, I'm not knocking that people wasn't talking about it, but who talked about the WNBA more than me? He kept saying, who did more than First Take? I heard him say that, ask her that question twice. So are we tripping that he was cowardice because he didn't say, well, you know what, y'all wasn't worth talking about? Or is he basically saying, however much you were worth talking about, I talked about you more than everybody else. Nobody talked about you at all. So if you were ever mentioned, it was me that mentioned it.
Okay,
that seemed like that was his argument. That's what he was more upset about.
But that conversation could have been had there. He's a man of many words. He should have been able to have the discussion and parse it out right there and put it to bed.
That's
he
my
took
point.
time and made a whole segment about who is she.
I think there's a reason for that. I just can't put my finger on it. I think there's a reason why he didn't do it on that platform. I just don't know.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know sports all that well, but I know entertainment. And just like the NBA at one point wasn't worth talking about and was going bankrupt before a young guy by the name of Magic Johnson came in and grew some entertainment and added some entertainment. And again, they were struggling when a young guy named Michael Jordan came in. And to the points that are being made, Kenny could have spoken about it more. I mean, Stephen could have spoken about it more often, but he chose not to. And he chooses to speak about this girl right now, so he has the liberty to do so, and he takes that liberty when he feels he wants to. And that's the hypocrisy of some of the things that he does. And the point that that she made, she did make a valid point. They were, I do know this much about sports, there were exciting players before Caitlin, but media has the real strong point of the entertainment, and they lead the entertainment. So they made the storyline in and around her. They highlighted the fact that she was in college breaking records. There's a lot of records being broken in college sports that aren't highlighted as significantly, but they highlighted it. Media took that and ran with it, and now that media is on it, we have bandwagoners who are following it. We have bandwagoners who are jumping on it saying, oh, it's exciting now. No, the media just made you feel it's exciting. It's been just as exciting before. It was just as physical before. They had Cheryl Swoops in there. They had a lot of people in there that was worthwhile speaking about, and it was entertaining. Problem is, media dictates entertainment. And until I recognize that, we all kind of will just be bamboozled and thinking that yeah, it wasn't worth talking about. Yeah, but the point is, media made us, why we're having a conversation about it right now, because they highlighted it and highlighting her treatment more so than they highlighted anything else in the years that have passed. Now, fortunately, it's a great thing because with the entertainment value, we have value in the WNBA that we didn't have in before. It's not because of the player. It's not because of the players because they always exist. It's because we're now highlighting that. And media, I think we sometimes forget how powerful media is and how powerful. We're on this platform right now utilizing media tools to be able to have these conversations. So media is a very powerful thing that we don't control. And we're getting a little bit more leverage. And the point that she was making to Stephen A is that he has leverage that can control things, but he chooses it very sporadically. He's the same person who now just publicly apologized to Kyrie for something he did years ago, simply because Kenny Smith had to bring it and check him and bring it to his attention. He could have done that years ago too, and he chose not to. So her point was valid. He chooses what he wants to do. He has a lot more power than than we give him credit, and he knows his power, but he chooses how to use it. And I can't be mad at him. That's his prerogative. But the point being is that She called him on something that was actually true. And I'm not here to defend the fact that he wasn't speaking about things, but because he wasn't doing it significantly enough. He doesn't do it significantly enough, especially when it comes to our community and communities that are underprivileged, such as the WNBA back in the day, before they now have this entertainment platform that we all speaking about right now.
All right, hold tight, y'all. Let me go ahead and play another clip, and then we'll go ahead and continue the conversation.
If you also know each and every player of the WNBA, the idea that women have to be mindful of how they compete, and also the idea that the WNBA is a monolith is a kind of a dangerous thought, because the WNBA is a melting pot of women who compete differently. And I do think when you have an incident that happens with Caitlin Clark, that becomes magnified. I played with Kennedy Carter for the Los Angeles Sparks, and the way she competed against Caitlin is the way that she has competed against everyone she has gone up against. And at times it has worked to her detriment. We are so caught up dissecting the growth of the women's game that we are missing out on the goodies. I keep telling people, why can't all growth, all ways that women compete, be good for the game? Yes, there was an out of bounds play. And I say that that is not indicative of how everyone plays in the W. But unfortunately, when we talk about Caitlin Clark, who rightfully has brought the lion's share of what we are seeing right now, that notion that Caitlin is constantly acknowledged, it's true. She has brought so much good and growth, and we want to protect that, but not at the expense of people competing. And I think the people that compete sometimes get erased because of moments like this. The sentiments of growth that people talk about, and I'll just finish wrapping really quick right here. The sentiments of growth in acknowledging Caitlin's impact are not amplified by the media. It's the outliers, the controversial 1% that is amplified over and over again. And I think that's where we have to do better. And that's why Monica and I and so many others exist to sort of help usher in that reality. A lot of the new fans who are excited about the game and that we are welcoming to the game only want to hear the praise of one player because that is the only thing that brought them here. And that's perfectly fine, but it should not come at the complete erasure of how everyone in the league competes, even in its worst moments. And unfortunately, the moment happened that a lot of people attract this entire narrative to a league, and I hope they choose not to make that continually happen in the moving forward.
So, guys, I think we forget that what y'all want Stephen A. to go back at that woman. How would that look like on national television? This man go back at this woman on national television. He bite back, he rear his back and act a goddamn fool on national television. Y'all realize he was suspended the last time he got into a situation like this when he went back. Now, this chick was wrong because they were supposed to bend and went to commercial 15 minutes ago. She wanted to grandstand and do what she was doing to say what she needed to say. And again, us as black people, Cloud, I appreciate you donating that little money, but you could have donated probably about $500,000 more and could have really made a difference in the neighborhood. That's how we do. Another thing is, y'all realize the leading scorer of a WNBA is a white woman, not a sister, not a woman of color. Dana Taurasi is the leading scorer of the WNBA. Guess who's the leading scorer of the college? Caitlin Clark. Nobody cares about no other record but scoring, Sean. Nobody cares about that. Who cares about a steal record, assist record? Nobody cares about that. It's all about scoring. When LeBron got that 40,000, they made it all about him. He had a trash ass season for real. But guess what? He went on a scoring tour. That's all they talked about. Him getting a 40,000 mark. Come on, man. We need to stop this, man. I understand some people just don't like Stephen A. Smith, and I can agree. What he did with Kyrie Irving was shitty. I hated that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it at all because I like Kyrie. I think he's a good kid. He got shitted on that situation, and I'm glad Stephen A. was man enough to apologize. Now, whether his bosses made him do it, I don't know, or he just decided, hey, I think it's about that time for me to, bend the knee and do something right by this man and apologize. I don't know, but I'll land it there.
So check this out. Like, you can't really get mad at Stephen A. for not covering it when no one else was covering it. And the reason that he didn't cover it as much as the homegirl would have liked him to is because nobody really gave a crap about it. The WNBA was straight hot garbage. There's no lie about that. The WNBA was hot garbage. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody was watching it. Kenny made a valid point. They got a homegirl from Middle America, Iowa, the Great White Hope right about now. They have that. We've seen this movie before. His name was Larry Bird. They got somebody to root for, so now they involved. Of course, the audience has grown. White people watching now. We can't get away from that. They watching now, and they care because she's beating up on a big black boogeyman. That's what it is. Like, come on. Let's not get away from it. That's what it is. She's standing up to the big black boogeyman, and she's showing them how it's done, according to what they're watching, right? And another valid point Kenny made was the homegirl A. Reese. She just got slammed on her head the other day. Ain't nobody care about that. When you come in as a rookie, they gonna trash you. Michael Jordan dealt with this. When he came in, Detroit whooped hell on his ass for years. That's rookie treatment. And I know we all saw that little push, but did y'all watch the play prior to that? How she was going up for the shot and she pushed homegirl with her arm and pushed her out of the way and then was talking shit in her face? Nobody saw that part. They played that part, depending on what you were watching. She pushed homegirl out of the way first and talked shit in her face. That's when she decided, like, oh, word? Now I'm about to knock you out the box. You got to understand, she antagonizes a lot of people. She antagonizes people. She will talk shit in your face crazy. She came in like she was running the league. And she may not sound like that on her interviews, but if you actually watch the game and don't watch the Instagram highlights, you'll see that that's how she behaves. She came in as a rookie with I've arrived mentality. And ain't nobody really trying to hit that shit. So they're going to pound you. It is what it is. That's what you're going to get coming as a rookie, acting like you a vet mentality. That's just what it is. She's going to have to take her lumps just like A. Reese. They don't like her neither. She get pounded same way. It is what it is. That's what we're going to see. They don't care. When you come in there with that arrogant attitude, you're going to get humbled. Now, I'm not saying they should hurt the girl or put her, in a hospital, none of that. She should be able to play, but she just has to be careful as to how she's antagonizing people. She can't sit there and talk to people all crazy and don't think you're going to get checked, because that's going to happen when you talk that shit to somebody who's been there for a little while, right? And this is just what it's going to be. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that this is going to have longevity and then people are all of a sudden going to forever watch the WNBA. I think that A. Reese and her are generational talents. I don't think that you're going to see a lot of those. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong and this may not age well, but I don't think that you're going to see a lot of them. There probably aren't any coming out this year that are going to be that nice. And once that all kind of trickles down, women start having kids and doing things and doing life and womanly things, it's just going to be a little different and people aren't going to care. It's hot right now, but I think that this is really just a fad. I don't think that it will ever be the NBA. This is the first year where they're probably actually not going to be in the red. We all talked about how they are absolutely subsidized by the NBA and has been losing money year after year since their existence. They've never had a profitable year yet. And I think it's hot right now. And I hope it doesn't go that way. I want them to do well so that at least we have another sport that we can watch, right? And that's great. I want them to do well, but I really don't think so. I don't think it's going to be that long before we just kind of forget about it and fade out. And then, like when slam ball came out, people was like, oh, damn, what the hell is this? Full contact basketball? Like people were into it for a minute and they were like, all right, I mean, I can't really watch this. This is crazy. And I think the same thing is probably going to happen. There could be more, but in my opinion, I just don't think that it's going to be like that. And I think that the homegirl was completely out of line because Stephen A. Smith was in his right in this particular situation. He has to talk. It's his job to cover what's hot. And if it ain't hot, it's not his job to make it hot. I'm sure he's tried that. He's tried to talk about it, but then when your ratings take a dive, no, we got to talk about something else. The whole football season, you can forget about it. And when real basketball is going on, you can forget about it too. Remember, it's only a few months that they even play that. And during that time, you got what? Playoffs? Come on, man. Nobody's going to care about the WNBA during that time. It's hot right now, but let's hope it can stay that way.
All right, hold on. Let me just play this clip right quick.
Is she what? I don't know. I just, with my eyes, I couldn't see if she's Caucasian or not. So I think what we're trying to say is what the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby. That is old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. And is it because she stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple year success story? Is it because she would go on to break the entire points records in the history of the NCAA? Not just the women's record by Kelsey Plum, shout out, but also Pistol Pete Maravich's, the dude's record as well. Is there a chance that people just enjoy watching her play basketball because how electrifying she is, what she did, what she stood for, how she went about going what she went for? Maybe. But instead, we have to hear people say that we only like her because she's white. And she's the only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And we think the WNBA, more specifically, their refs need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. What you have is somebody special. And we're lucky she's here in Indiana. And that was, guess which WNBA rookie?
Pat McAfee. I guess he watched us this morning. And he had some coffee. He probably had an energy drink. Do we have his sound? We can't play his sound. Monica. Well, I know you've heard it by now. I think Pat got a little bit too amped. He forgot, like, man, this live. This, normally we have a conversation like this, Monica. You and your girls off air. But we got a microphone and we got a camera with a red dot going. So what did you think when you heard P Mac start going?
So I didn't actually watch it, but I read the transcript and all the articles that came down. Honestly, y'all, my first thought was, okay, here we go with this not being about race. Right? From a person who is white, right? And again, this is where I say, and I'm speaking honestly, clearly, concisely. This is where I say multiple things can be true, right? I wonder what this would look like if Caitlin Clark was black. She's proud of who she is. That's fantastic, right? But this is where all the layers of this conversation come in.
Right.
The WNBA is a predominantly black women's league. It's also largely a queer league, right? And the gender, sexuality, race, it's hard to parse this out of that conversation, at least for me as a woman, because I can't walk away from any part of who I am, right? And so his point about other white chicks in the league that have been buckets, sure, Stewie's the MVP. KP has won multiple championships with the Las Vegas Aces. DT, obviously, we had a conversation about her as a GOAT, right? But to act as if there is no space to sit back and just wonder, again, all I'm asking for folks that have just joined is to open your mind. Ultimately, you may disagree, and that's fine, but you should be able to hold space to evaluate all the pieces that seem to be at play. Now, if you decide to pick up 3 instead of 6, that's on you, but you got to be able to sit back and acknowledge all the pieces at play, just out of respect for humanity at large, I would say.
What the fuck was she talking about?
Bruh.
She had no point. She had absolutely no point.
I'm surprised he called her just a bitch. That's what that shit stuck out like a motherfucker.
Well, that's what he was talking about. He said he must have forgot. He was laughing because I thought that was somebody's private show, but I guess that was ESPN.
Yeah, that had an ESPN logo in the lower corner. And
He
he
said
was
he
like, this bitch. But then you know why? I bet nobody really kind of picked up on it because he was actually congratulating her and supporting her and backing her up. He just threw it out there. I thought that was.
But you see the difference between that guy and the guy. I mean, I think that guy right there had some kahunas. You know what I'm saying? To make a statement like that.
Yeah, man. He just called the thing a thing.
That guy right there was white. Let's not gloss over that.
So
and had that been a brother saying what that guy said, we would be talking about that right now. Because that would be
white privilege right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He gonna get reprimanded, but he's not gonna get hit as hard as a black man would. He actually makes more than Stephen A. Smith. Pat McAfee has a good show. That's a slip. I think he want to take that back. Not a real good look. I don't think he's that type of guy. If you watch a plethora of his episodes, he's fair, he's even kill. Be flawed as human, so that's one that you would like to see him as loud as the offense should be as loud as the apology. He needs to get back on the show and be like, I said something that could have been taken wrong. He just, take his
The whole thing is white privilege.
I think that it's white privilege. And to somebody's point that made it, I think it was B2. You're right. If he was speaking about a black lady that way, he would have been taken off the air. But he wasn't. He was speaking about another white privileged person, and he is white. And to each his own. I'm not even damning it. It is what it is. But the point being, again, what I said earlier and why I stood on it, entertainment exceeds a lot of what we're talking about politically, whether we're talking about sports or music. Entertainment kind of puts you in another threshold because, again, they are having talking points that entertain us. We are sitting here, this whole world is a stage, it seems like, and we're sitting here playing characters and evaluating characters.
Hey, yo, Kenny, how does Pat McAfee make $85 million on a 5-year contract, and Stephen A. Smith only makes $60 million on a 5-year contract? I ain't never heard of Pat McAfee until today.
Pat McAfee's show has been popping, and per the views on his show, that's what he negotiated. Say he's a better negotiator, got better people around him than Stephen A. Smith. Chalk it up to that.
I'm not into sports. I don't do professional sports. So
whose ratings are better?
He was a kicker.
Whose ratings are better?
His.
Oh, okay. Well, again, I don't know sports either, but what's interesting, we mentioned it earlier. We said that's his job. That's a very convenient conversation. I use DJs who got into radio. Their job was to break music, bring us to the more exciting things, bring us to make the stories or the records that people didn't know about. They fell victim to the system, so to speak, and allow the system to dictate the direction of their job. And that's happening to Stephen A. in this environment in the same way that it's happened to a lot of my DJs who used to have leverage, had a name for themselves prior to getting on radio. Then they got on radio and they started playing what was told to them, told for them to play. They started not taking the leverage and liberty to play things and break records any longer because they were afraid to lose their job. And so while I hear that is his job, I understand, and he understands that he's playing that tight rope very, very. He's walking it very clearly to where he's not jeopardizing his job ever, but wants to go ahead and have the balls and be arrogant to say what he want to say when he want to say it. As long as his people don't say nothing about it, he good. But he don't dare cross that line when the people he knows he's going to get pushback from his people about talking about it. So yeah, it is his job. I grant it. But the point is, he has a lot of leverage that he's not willing to risk. And he doesn't have the balls, as Darwin said, to speak about certain things. And then he'll say and use the out of, well, it's just not popular. Well, you're the person who's supposed to make it popular. You're the person who's supposed to bring the new players to our attention who are coming up, the new Edwards, whoever it might be. That's your job. But you don't take that liberty to do your job when it comes to risking your job, so to speak.
Now, this is another thing that I'm thinking about. I think her statement, if that's viewed out of pocket, then what he did would be out of pocket, because you can't teach humility while being boastful. It doesn't work that way. If I want to teach humility, then I would go to Stat and say, you know what? I appreciate you for sharing that. Not, hey, yo, I'm the boss around here. You know what I'm saying? If I say this is what it is. No, that's not how I'm going to go to her. I'm going to go to her and say, you know what? I understand these things are an issue. If this is an issue, this is kind of what our goal is. This is what we would like to achieve. And I'm not moving her by power. I'm moving her by vision. When I cast vision to her, then she can see that what I'm saying is going to be to her benefit. And then she could.
Before we get into that, I just want to do a quick fact check. Whoever said that McAfee is a better negotiator was correct, because I just looked up the viewership, and apparently Stephen A. Smith is holding down 583,000 viewers versus McAfee's 302,000 viewers. So Stephen A. Smith
I'm gonna get fact check from now on. I love it.
Wait. Trev, what viewers are you referring to?
It's saying his viewers.
Overall viewership.
Like how many viewers he gets on the show?
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith has. Well, they're saying that it's listed as 583,000 viewers.
But that's what I'm asking, because that
is holding 300,000 too.
That doesn't sound right on either. We're talking about television viewers. If we're talking about Instagram viewers or social media viewers, maybe, but it don't sound right. I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. Where did that fact come from?
This is on MSNBC.
Okay. Like I said, it just 500,000 viewers just don't sound like a television show.
That sounds pretty low. And Marcus, you want to add anything?
Yeah, shout out to Diana Taurasi. She been like that. She probably will be known as the woman's GOAT. We was at UConn together. She used to get buckets playing with the men and the women. So I mess with DT for real. That's who they was mentioning early in the conversation. I agree with Sean and Trev specifically. While I was watching this, I was thinking like, damn, I really wish I would have went into advertising as a profession, or what I went to school for instead of political science. Because all of this is framing, right? You create a good enough story, you pretty much could sell anything. Like the year before this, the WNBA, they was up 202% or 210% prior to these girls entering the league. And then the women's college basketball game had like 6 million more watchers than the men's, because they sold a story. One of the things that was able to push the women's basketball to this point right here is that they invested $75 million in things like social media, advertising, bringing in budgets, bringing in different companies, locating a consumer base, finding out how to adequately utilize the fan bases that they wanted to get from social media. All those things translate into ticket sales. And it's not just Caitlin Clark, although it seems as though she's taking the lion's share of what everybody thinks she's responsible for. They was already on a 200% trajectory. And it's people that watch Angel Reese the same way. Now, to the point of her being white and bringing the influx, it is what it is. It's the same reason Eminem sells so many records. it is what it is. When you have a core demographic you can speak to or a built-in base, be it politics, sports, and whatever that is, they're gonna come out and show support when somebody they feel represents them. And I wouldn't even say that specifically is racist. That's just seeing somebody you identify with, and then and seeing yourself in them. You can see your child, because when you can see your child in them, you can see your family member. She feels like she's part of your family, which a lot of people associate sports with. You know what I'm saying? They find a connectiveness, and then they connect to them. Even with Angel Reese, like I contemplated taking my daughters to see her play basketball now, just so they could see like a feminine woman do her thing on the basketball court, so they don't have to come out as what traditionally what the young lady was talking about, McNutt's, I think her name was, a queer women's league, right? I think that has a lot to do with it too, because she seemingly is a straight woman. Like that's something that people will want to push. A clean cut, straight white girl is marketable, is remarkably marketable. And Angel Reese is a clean, well, she's a black woman that is straight, that is also marketable in her own right. Is, she got some things that maybe need to be addressed as far as some of the ratchetness she do, but that's, I chalk that up to youth. But yeah, but with that said, I think it's good for the business. I think they could have, when y'all was talking about the records made, they could have made a storyline with anything. I think they'd be better off lowering the rim a foot so people could get dunked on, and then like having them do like real like basketball players of the WNBA, like the social media shows. That'll really, really blow them up, because people are just following this Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese timeline. They invest in things like that. I've never known a time where women's basketball had more viewers than men's college basketball. Yeah, that's just crazy.
So Marcus, let me ask you this, because you were a real ball player, right?
Yeah.
I do want to know real quick, like, what do you think would happen if you lowered the rim, as far as people like when they jump shot and shit like that? Do you think that it would alter it to where it might be a little less accurate, like particularly from like the
No, it'll make it easy. It'll make it easier.
It'll make it easier.
It'll make it a lot easier.
And for anyone who wants to challenge those viewership, we're not talking about primetime television. We're talking about shows that air while most people are at work. So I would challenge you to go and look up the views your damn self and find out exactly what we're talking about when we say you're in the hundreds of thousands versus millions, because it's not a prime time television show. Those views are actually accurate.
And I got one more thing to say about dude calling her a white bitch on screen. Call me crazy, but I think Shannon Sharp is popping from his antics that show him being what we would call real. Him putting a black and mildness in his mouth and then taking sips of yak on TV propelled him to a demographic that made people open their eyes to him. Like Cameron going on there and acting how he act is one of the reasons they show is popping. Him calling her, let's be honest, this white bitch right here, to us it may have seemed like a faux pas. I almost believe that was planned. Like we're talking about it. Nobody here ever heard a dude like it doesn't watch sports prior to this conversation. And we live in a era where it don't really matter how you get the eyes on you, as long as you get them on you, and then you can parlay that into something. So yeah, that may be all the way off the wall. I could be completely wrong, but
I think you're right.
Not out the realm of possibility.
I think you're right, actually, because that's, it don't matter in entertainment. It don't matter why, just keep them talking. It don't matter whether they're talking good or bad, just keep them talking. And Trev, just for the record, I don't know who you might have offended, but when you said you're a real basketball player, I saw a couple of people look up like, wait, who you talking? I play ball too.
It's levels to this shit.
And Darwin.
It's levels to that shit. It's levels to that shit. I was #1 player in the state of Illinois, coming out top 10 in the country, won a national championship with UConn, shit like that.
I don't play ball. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying I saw the looks of other folks.
So why you poking the bear?
Levels to that shit.
All right, let me go ahead and get to this.
Well, he the only one that I knew. My bad. I know Marcus played for real, because he mentioned it a few times on the joint. You know what I mean? So that's why I knew he did it for real.
Respect, Marcus.
And we get to the super chat. AP Accountability Partner $20 says, "My good brothers, good show. We don't have to agree, but we had a conversation. It's important. Keep spitting, brothers. I definitely appreciate what JR is doing. Much love to my boy Marcus, Shan, Trev, Clout, Inc. Respect all. Appreciate that, AP.
Funny
I
how
don't think AP mess with me no more.
funny how
Appreciate
he
the super chat, though,
funny
brother.
how he cleave out certain names.
I mean, like he said, respect to all. Kenny P.
I read between lines, but
Oh, Darwin, you good? You good? You tired?
No, I'm just chilling, just enjoying the show. I mean, there's a lot of it's fascinating how many things that, well, I would say this is fascinating whenever you actually niche down on a particular category of media or whatever, or content. You start to miss out on a lot of other things because you, like what I do specifically is everything that I, look at, entertained by is mainly focused on the content I try to push out. So I tend to miss out on a lot of the videos and the media and the breaking news and stuff. That's why it was kind of a little difficult for me to kind of touch on the politics, because I rarely even click on that or even, put my TV on it. So for those who was listening and was expecting to get some intelligent take from me, I apologize. I wasn't able to deliver like all the brilliant gentlemen on the top on this panel. So shout out to y'all for covering the show today so far.
We're going to hold you down, Darwin. We got you.
That's what she said, Darwin. That's what she said.
Yeah, but I'm
learning. I had pulled up the inflation numbers. JR skipped me. I had all the numbers. I was ready to go through them. He just went to the next topic. I said, all right, well, fuck it.
AP Accountability $5 says, "Ran out of characters, Kenny. We still brothers no matter what. I got you. I fuck with you, my boy. Mark is a real one."
I will say this, dude. I do see things sitting on this panel. I thought it would take a little longer for things to come full circle, but I was surprised whenever Kenny kind of replicated what the West dude did whenever him and Clout was going back. It was kind of funny to me that a lot of the things he said.
What was funny about it?
Look weak. I mean, he kind of like replicated that for that moment.
Yeah. What was funny about it while you were smiling? Because I peeped that.
I mean, it just shocked me because you were denouncing it. You pretty much.
I'm not good with men going on tirades and calling me a hard ER if they willing to stand on it. And that wasn't the conversation.
I get it. I get it. You push back.
All right, watch this. I'm gonna let you finish. I apologize.
No, I'm saying, like, I understand, you were standing up for yourself and, you had to get up out of your chair and tell them or do whatever you had to do. But I'm just trying to understand if you can see how that kind of correlate to how West did whenever he was on that stage.
You said weak. I did not instigate somebody. I did not say Clout had 10-inch arms. I just rebutted what he said regarding, because I was actually on them streets because I'm an essential worker. So what he said was incorrect. Just like nobody chose to correct him when he said the latter part of the pandemic is when people started getting stimmies, and it was actually just 6 months in because they made emergency packages. So that was incorrect as well. But then hold on. Y'all allowed him to try to move the goalposts at least 3 or 4 times to get away from it rather than do what I did with Shannon. I concede. I was wrong. And then it came to the point where he looked on a prior show. He said, you always do this. So now it's for him to get it off his chest and call me a hard ER and act all tough. I could have took the sideway road and just let him get it all out. I was immature. And I said, wherever you want to be, you can be. Because Darwin, you also did it. Because I gave you a premise regarding me being at your house. If that guy was at your house, would you allow him to disrespect me in your house? You said, I would allow him to F you up and then put you out. And I know you said that from the heart.
You took what
I looked at you. I listened to pitch and tonality. I grew up on it.
You taking what I say out of context.
Hold on, I'll give you the floor. I'm not taking it personal. I'll give you the floor. But you have a wrong assessment about me.
Well, that's why I'm sitting here and addressing it. I didn't.
No,
I didn't
you
say that
actually
I was.
laughed while it
It
was
was it
going
was
on.
funny to me because from my point of view, from
And
I
you
get,
didn't mention weak. So now it's your floor. I'll be
I,
quiet.
I understand your perspective, but from what I saw that you were displaying some of the behaviors that you were denouncing last week. Whenever you stated that,
Point out exactly. Point out exactly.
oh, I mean,
Was
you told him.
I the aggressor?
Did you tell him to pull up?
I
You
said
told.
wherever you
Okay.
want to have that
You tell him.
discussion.
Well, hold on. You told him you was in New York, right?
Yeah. I said wherever you
What does
want to
that
have
mean?
that discussion because you was talking kind of greasy. I'm willing to have that discussion. See, dog, when you have the wrong
Well, I mean,
idea about me,
I think everybody on the panel can
no, speak for
intellectualize and
yourself.
understand.
I
No,
don't like people that do that. Speak for
well, you
yourself.
probably not gonna like me then. Well, what
Hmm?
I'm saying is, I think everybody listening can see that when a man tells another man, "I'm in the same town as you," we know what time that is. We know what time
Okay,
you
so
are.
Marcus, again, stop trying to have people pile on.
Don't get
This
Marcus
is your
Bell, y'all. This
conversation.
is
Speak
between
for
me and you, Kenny. Bring
yourself.
it back. I'm not gonna let you do that, Kenny.
What am I doing?
Pulling one of
You
your.
tried to pile on. I think everybody thought the same way as I did. Didn't you
No,
just do that?
don't try to put everybody in your misery, Kenny.
Didn't you? Wait. Didn't you just do that? I think everybody, I'm repeating what you said. I think everybody felt the way that I did. You didn't say that?
No, I didn't say that. You didn't. You cut me off. You couldn't hear what I said.
You know what I hear? Y'all are funny. This is my first.
No, Sean, don't do that. Don't
No,
do
no.
that.
But let me tell you why. This is my first time up here with
Sean,
these.
don't do that.
I
Stand down, Sean. Stand down. Stand down. Stand down.
Wait, a lying challenge becomes the truth.
So
I am repeating what the man just said, and y'all like.
I didn't say that. I didn't say what you just said. You didn't repeat what I said. But whenever you said I would let you get disrespected in my house, I've never said I would let you get disrespected in my house. So if you could clear that up for me, I think it'll betray me to have some good character.
Is somebody gonna tell the truth here?
Well, I'm asking you to clear it up because I didn't say.
Use Kevin Gates' line: "Suspect evil in no one until
anybody
seen.
here. Was anybody on the? Was anybody on the panel?
Never be a friend."
I was on the panel.
You was on this panel. Did you
All
hear
right, so
me say out of my words?
this is what I heard, that you would give a warning, like you leave, like don't bark up that tree, and then if he continued to bark up the tree, you will watch him get beat up, and then he was like, "Would you let that person come back?" And you was like, "Yeah, they could come back," and it was something about a gun, but I forget what that part was.
Okay, so correct. That's closer to what I said. I said I would warn him. I said, "Hey, look, man, you talking mad shit to this dude. Now, if you keep it up, this dude gonna whoop your ass." That's not me allowing you to get disrespected. This me allowing y'all two to be men.
Marcus, you didn't say it right.
And deal with y'all differences.
My memory.
I gave the
as men,
comparison
a
of me
traditional way.
sitting down like the other guy that he was trying to antagonize. If that was happening in your house.
Oh yeah, you was asking would he let the person disrespect your guest, right?
The same way like we were on the stage.
And what did I say, Marcus? I said that's a loaded question. For me to answer that means that I agree that he disrespected that man. As an example of you asking me that question, would I allow that in my house? Because I remember I never agreed that it was a disrespect thing, did I?
What you was trying to say that he would, yeah, I ain't agree with your stance on.
I didn't agree that Wes disrespected him. I think they were both just going back forward with each other. Yeah, obviously the conversation got out of hand as the more clips JR played. But for the most part, these men were just challenging each other's viewpoints like men do. We do that all the time on this panel.
No,
but he was threatening him, bro.
What actually happened?
Yeah, he did. But I mean,
look. You heard the butt, right?
It came at a response to.
You heard the butt, right? Because I said that I was on the floor. I was working Essential Time when it got boarded up, so I know the time frames. It led to him being aggressive and calling me out my name because I wish to rebuke. He said, don't cut me off. And I said, you do that all the time. We do that all the time. I did not use any expletives. I gave him a point of view. And I didn't take too long. And then he used that point to pile on how he felt and thought he would get people to dogpile. You've been doing this on every show, yada, 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 yada. Then jumped in the comments like I wasn't peeping those and further espoused things about me.
Ooh.
Clout. You understand that? Because I'm watching. It's right here. But between you
are y'all talking about something that happened tonight and last week?
Yes. So, here's the thing, Dalton. You're married. You have a beautiful wife and kids. Yes.
Sure.
And you pointed out something about what I did was weak, right?
I said, can you clearly state what I said instead of putting words in my mouth? I said the things that you're doing today relates to the things that you said West were doing, that what you said was weak. I didn't say what you said what you were doing was weak. Because that means I would have been stating that what West was doing was weak. I never said what he was doing was weak.
For me to be compared to West, that means I would have been the aggressor.
I think
I responded to the energy that was given to me.
I think you were whenever JR and all the rest of the guys, well, some of the guys were saying, hey, look, let Clout finish. Let him finish talking. You were continually you were trying to continue to push the issue, and you stated that, hey, look, I'm in New York. That means you were totally disconnected from what this man was trying to say. He didn't really want to hear it. All you wanted to do was say basically what you wanted to do is say pull up.
So
can I jump in real quick? Because I respect but I want to because but this is pointless.
Please,
but Sean, this is pointless.
Please, Sean.
I want.
I'm asking.
I respect Kenny. I respect you, and Darwin, I respect you.
You won't let me
and what I understand that. I understand
Sean.
I've been holding on for the last 10 minutes.
So
Kenny.
That's 10 minutes.
I've been holding on. Yes, for the last 10 minutes between you and Darwin. I've been holding on. I've been sitting here listening to you and Darwin go back and forth for the last 10 minutes. Some of which I understood, some of which was above my head because I wasn't here last week. All I was going to say is you both have valid points. His point that he's making that your stand on when you interrupted Clout could have been looked at as aggressive is correct. Wrong. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's correct. Wrong. Yes, you did. No, it's not. It's not. I'm not.
You're doing it on pressure. You don't know how to stand on your side of the fence.
You're right, and I'm not going to. You're right, and I'm not going to.
You got told by Marcus that I was threatened, and I responded. I gave points as to why I interjected. I gave points as to why I interjected.
Doesn't
how
mean
everybody
that,
does.
Okay.
Did not use expletives. I said
I was here
because I was there.
You can use as many words as you like, sir.
Darwin, who you don't know.